What's up, folks? How you doing? We'll get going here in just a couple of minutes.
Michiana's news channel. Minutes matter when severe weather hits. Get 95.3 MNC weather text alerts so you know when to take cover. Powered by Rain Drain. Sign up now at 953mnc.com, your breaking news and weather station. News powered by C. Kramer Interiors. Elegance and style. Value your home with brands like
That's right, Jimmy.
Theodore Alexander and Hickory White. You're invited to their home, C. Kramer Interiors, on University Drive in Granger.
You make a million tough business decisions every day. So here's the easiest one of the year. Dell's Black Friday in July is back and bigger than ever. Get no-brainer deals on the very latest computers with Intel Core processors and a huge selection of servers, electronics, and more, all with free shipping on everything. To make your decision even easier, Dell's Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find just the right tech. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's an easy call to make at 877.
So, Sean, are you lurking in there, bud?
.com/small business.
The copperhead snake.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a pretty good weekend. It was, it was long, don't get me wrong, and I had to go off of the diet, but other than that, it was good. So I went 9 days without cheating on the diet, and I couldn't because I didn't have breakfast and I hadn't had lunch, and we got to Chicago and did a bunch of crap on Millennium Park, and I hadn't eaten yet, and we went to the hotel where the restaurants were downstairs. There was no restaurant that was open that had anything that would work for me. So I just had to get something. So I wasn't able to stick to it for a couple of days. Feel like crap because of that. Not mentally, but the food just tore me up. So back on it again today. So Mike, oh Sean, are you there? I'm waiting. Find it hard to believe you haven't tuned in yet. You know he's gonna have to be out there somewhere.
Call me, Kate. My phone number is 574-303-4897. You can call, text, and we also have Facebook page, Silver Birch of Mishawaka.
Served up by the Prime Table Kids. Happy Independence Day. We are open on the 4th of July. Celebrate with some good food. See you at the Prime Table.
Is Nightbot still messing with y'all?
From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical.
Just don't do too many emotes at the same time. You just do like one at a time. You should be all right.
On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. They have 10 dedicated shooting lanes, rifle and pistol. They're indoors, so if you don't want to be out in the heat or if it's raining or something like that, you can go inside and get out of that. And again, you can shoot rifle and pistol indoors with rentals. And of course, they have ammo, they've got accessories, targets, all of that stuff, all at discounts by simply mentioning me. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information and contact info. All right. So I'm just going to start with this. And I mean, how could you start really with anything else? So Republican mayoral candidates in South Bend, Sean Haas, has called for Mayor Pete to resign. As most of you are aware, I've told you before, the rumor from my people inside of the Democratic Party were that he didn't resign because a political opponent, had set up all of the precinct captains, so he would have been able to choose who the interim mayor was heading into the election, which of course would have favored that candidate who would not have been in the Buttigieg wing of the St. Joseph Democratic Party. And that couldn't happen. So now we've got Mueller. Now, Mueller has won the primary. Mueller has the endorsement of Pete Buttigieg. Mueller comes from his administration. So it seems like that fear should probably be alleviated somewhat. However, he is still holding on as mayor. And a lot of people believe that he shouldn't be because he is gone all the time and he doesn't seem to be doing his day-to-day duties. People made this accusation against him when he deployed as well. Of course, you elected him when he was in the Naval Reserve, so you always knew that that was a possibility. I know that there are still some questions about whether or not he volunteered or was called up. Okay, but we don't have access to that. He was in the reserves when you voted for him. You put him in office. I know not you specifically because some of you are yelling at me because you didn't vote for him, but you know what I mean. So you have to deal with that. You didn't. Well, okay, I anticipated he was going to run for president. You didn't anticipate he was going to run for president. And a lot of people feel that he's not devoting enough attention to his duties here. Now, again, none of us are inside of his administration. We don't really know who's running things day to day or how involved he is day to day with the real scenario on the ground. But at the same time, a lot of people feel that it's time for him to step down. So Sean Haas has issued this press release. I'm going to read it to you. And I will take your phone calls on this and whether or not you agree with the Republican nominee, Sean Haas. South Bend, Indiana. Sean Haas, teacher and the Republican nominee for mayor of South Bend, today released the following statement. Our greatest strength as Americans is our ability to come together during challenging times that test the bonds of our communities. With the proper leadership, those challenges become opportunities. Like a broken bone that heals stronger, Americans have a propensity for not just surviving, but thriving. Together, we can address these issues in a way that heals communal wounds and encourages future cooperation. Now, more than ever, South Bend needs a strong leader committed to walking alongside her residents every day as they regroup, recover, and build a better future for all. It has become clear in recent weeks that Mayor Pete's presidential campaign has taken priority over his duties here at home with absenteeism that has been well documented by local media and activists. This is true. Even local media has picked up on how frequently he is away. While it is Mayor Pete's prerogative to run for president and one that many in our community cheer him on in, now is not the time for our great city to be led by a part-time executive. Today, I am calling for Pete Buttigieg's resignation as mayor and a swift caucus to determine his replacement so that the city can move forward and progress in the coming months as we choose our next leader. I wish him luck on his future ambitions, but the people of South Bend deserve better. So that's the statement that he has issued. And do you agree with it? 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. Now, here's what I would like, okay? When you call and you either agree or disagree, let's say you do agree with it. Can it not be simply because you don't like Mayor Pete? Can it be for the reasons that Sean Haas has said? You feel that he's not able to address some of those issues. We've clearly got a problem with shootings happening right now. I've seen some estimates over 750 shootings this year. I know that we are way ahead in shootings over last year. We have more shootings inside the city limits right now, halfway through the year, than all of last year, according to the current data, which of course will be revised at the end of the year. But it's obviously becoming an issue. And a lot of people feel not having him here might be leading to that. It may not be, okay, but people feel that. So do you agree with Sean Haas? And give us the reasons why. And again, please make it a little bit more substantive than just, I don't like him. You know, is there some legitimacy in what Sean Haas is saying that he's not here? Do you disagree with it and say, no, he's being briefed? He's clearly able to make decisions while he is mobile. You know, if something comes up, he's got to make a decision. He can sign those documents electronically. He can go ahead and make phone calls. He can still deal with that. Or do you feel that his attention is being pulled in other directions? I think he was on The View today as well, where he forgot the definition of socialism. That was interesting. 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. Ben, welcome to the program. You're a leadoff hitter today. Ben, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Okay, see, it's Ben. How are you?
I'm well, man. What's up?
Not sure why there's Republicans even making an issue out of this, because it's not like a Republican's ever going to get elected in the People's Republic of South Bend, so why bother?
So you think that Sean Haas doesn't even have a chance with the angst that's in the community right now? Think everybody's just going to go right back to voting their old patterns?
I guarantee you he doesn't have a chance.
Okay. Would this be something that he could use to get more attention than he would get otherwise?
Get more attention, maybe, but he'll still not get elected.
Okay. So you disagree with him then?
Well, proof will be in the pudding, but it doesn't happen. It would be like a Republican getting elected in Chicago.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ben. You take care. 574-2595, 95.3. Ben thinks that this isn't going to do much good. Joe, welcome to the program.
Hello, this is Joe Casey.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I agree with what the guy just said as far as I don't think Sean Haas has a chance, and it's a shame, but I also agree with what he said as far as what would be best for the community.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think what's going to end up happening, or maybe I'm not informed on it, but he's going to end up making his opponent an incumbent, which is probably going to make it a little bit harder on him. But I think for the city, the transition is a good idea.
See, that was a little concern that I had when I was looking at this. It was like, okay, what if Mueller's the guy that the caucus puts in? Then all of a sudden, exactly. Mueller goes in there as the interim mayor, and then people will, be more likely to reelect him at that point. So, yeah, it could certainly backfire on him. But at the same time, I guess when it's South Bend and they haven't elected a Republican, there hasn't been a Republican in the mayor's office since 1972. I suppose you got to pull out all the stops and try something, right?
Right, and I would love to see him have a chance, but reality just says he's just. I don't care how good he is. We've had some very good candidates, and they get trounced. Okay. And but anyhow, best of luck to him, and I do think he was correct. Okay. As far as it be best for the city.
All right, fair enough, Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess I'll leave it this way then before we head to break, and then we'll take more phone calls on the other side of that. Okay. Forget about you thinking that this is something to do with Sean Haas trying to win, okay? Is a interim mayor, regardless of political affiliation and how that affects the next election, still the best thing for the city of South Bend right now? And if Pete Buttigieg is not able to give the city his full undivided attention, which obviously he's not going to give it undivided attention, but maybe he can still be an effective leader remotely. But maybe South Bend needs somebody who's here every single day and is able to deal with these things face to face, as opposed to having to reschedule speeches and things of that nature. And so even if that ends up not being a Sean Haas, and I don't think Sean assumes for a second that he would be the person that the caucus would put in, but maybe it's still the best thing for the city of South Bend. Give us a call, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. Of course, you can agree or disagree with Sean Haas's statement here. We'll take those phone calls coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Wondering about the weekend? It's always in sight with the 5-day forecast at 16 and 46.
Do you play audio through your computer throughout the show?
Sometimes. Okay. Yeah. I don't have any that I think I'm going to play today.
Okay. Just let me know.
Yep. I'll usually give you a heads up.
Well, it suddenly hit me. I was like, oh crap, I don't have this computer turned up.
Yeah, no, you'll be good. I usually want it turned down just because like emails and crap and the stupid little dings and all that stuff.
I haven't run someone else's board in like 5 years.
Yeah. It's been a while.
89 degrees for today. Definitely feeling like the mid-90s this afternoon. Dropping down to 70 overnight tonight. Very similar forecast for tomorrow with only a slight chance for an afternoon shower or storm.
Not that you need to, but you can ask me questions and drag me in. I'm not. Because if you usually bring in your producer for some things, then you are welcome to bring me in.
You got it.
You don't need to worry about me being upset over that. I don't know why I would be, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Similar forecast still for Friday.
So Dean, you posted about the confession and you got banned for 3 days.
Get your cell phones and cameras ready because 95.3 MNC in Monterey, Mexico.
All right, let me log into Nightbot here over on YouTube. Let me see if I can. It's messing with you guys. Hold on.
Photos of all kinds right now, including pics of the service members in your family. Parades, parties, fireworks.
All right, let's see what we got.
Decked out in red, white, and blue.
Oh, here's the other question I should have asked. Does he play your intros off the B-bar?
I honestly have no idea.
Does he play your intros for you?
I don't know if they're automatic or if he has to play them.
That was a good-looking question.
Yeah.
Because I don't see one up here.
I honestly do not know.
Kentucky Kingdom, and a $100 gift card to Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. It's the most patriotic photo contest, and we're collecting submissions now. Sponsored by Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill.
One here that says Casey bumper music. I wonder if that's it.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm looking at Nightbot, and it's the only thing it's dinging you guys for is the emojis, and then like one person for all capitals. So let me see if I can figure out how to fix this. All right. I will disable the all caps. I will disable the excess emotes. Disable the symbols. Okay. So now there's a blacklist of words and phrases, which will be standard, and then links. Links will be a bit of an issue, so just post the links with spaces and stuff like that. So, all right, there you go. That should help you guys out. Nightbot should leave you alone now.
Good thing LifeLock includes Norton security for more detection and more protection. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions.
I know how much you guys like your emojis.
For identity threats such as info for sale on the dark web, and Norton Security protects against online threats like ransomware. Join at lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off your first year.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294-5678. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location.
Now, Joe's got a couple of days off for personal reasons. He'll be back probably Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. We'll see.
Thursday.
Thursday he'll be back. Okay.
294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorced houses, behind in payment.
Well, Gallagher's sentencing, not sentencing, but his ruling is going to be very, very interesting, because you've got one person admitting to being the person who actually killed the guy that he's on trial for killing. So,
If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
When I got my cancer diagnosis, I turned to Goshen Center.
is that on Discord, Alex?
Right from the start, I knew I'd make the right choice.
At Goshen, I have a whole team of specialists, all under one roof.
They work together.
It was kind of nice. I took my computer to Chicago, and I did not take it out of the bag the entire time I was there. So that was good.
I have doctors who take time to answer my questions and get to know my family.
Naturopathic medicine and counseling that nurtures my body and soul.
And financial counselors who work with my insurance company to help me find resources like co-pay
Okay.
assistance for my medication.
Both of those are funny. The one from yesterday was funny, too.
Personalized care and the attention of an entire team.
Because they're not just focused
Man, anytime you have a South Park reference, especially that episode, I'm going to love it.
and at Goshen. We're all in this together.
To learn more, visit Goshen Cancer Care.
Joe was at the Antifa riots in Portland. That's why. No, stop it. No, he was not there. I don't think Joe has it in him to swing a bike lock or throw a drink with quick drying cement.
Right now, you can grab discount certificates for Edge Adventures in Chippewa Bowl and South Bend, Blackthorn, Topgolf, Swing Sweet, and Granger, Mega Blast, and Escape.
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. It was not bad. Said tiring, you know, but Bree chose that over having a party with her friends. So cool. That's what we did. She got to go to the museum, got to see Sue. She was thrilled. All right, here we go. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. You can also, again, follow us on the live stream, because we're live streaming on youtube.com/Casey the host right now. When you're there, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button, ring the bell icon to get notified when we upload a new video, if YouTube decides to notify you, because frankly, they pick and choose whenever they do that. You can also follow us on twitch.tv/Casey the host, and Twitch leaves us alone. So that's one of the people keep asking, why are you on Twitch? Well, because Twitch is awesome and they leave me alone. YouTube is constantly harassing me. All right, 574-2595-95-3. Republican candidate for mayor, Sean Haas, is called for Pete Buttigieg to resign. Says, look, the city of South Bend right now needs a leader. We've got an issue happening here at home, obviously the police shooting. We've got a bunch of protests that are getting ready to go down. So we'll see, how things are handled, and we don't really know how engaged he is while he's on the road. Obviously, he's focusing on the presidential race, and it doesn't mean he can't run the city. All right, but there are people who believe that he should be here, and while he's not here, the city is in angst, and maybe it's time for him to resign and let somebody take over those controls. So that's what Sean Haas has called for today. And we've had a couple of people disagree. Some have agreed via the various methods that you can communicate with me. Somebody did send me a text and say that I think he should resign or just come home, because frankly he's not ready for prime time anyway. Yeah, but you have to understand something. He doesn't have a job. If he doesn't, at least go for the other job. So he doesn't have a job when he's done with this, because he's not going to be running for mayor. So, if that's the case, then why stick around for the next year or so when he can actually go audition for a much better job, whether that's in the White House or that's a cabinet position or what have you. Anyway, 574-2595-95-3. To the phone lines we go. Do you agree with Sean Haas that Pete Buttigieg should resign? Paulie, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Regarding Mayor Pete,
yeah,
he was elected by some of the citizens here in the city of South Bend.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to finish his job until the final day, plain and simple.
Do you think he's not doing that right now?
Oh, please.
I don't know what that means. I need clarification. I can assume. Okay.
Well, you know what? You actually have to be here and have the up close and personal deal with anybody and everybody in this town concerning everything.
Okay, so you feel that he's too far removed from the city of South Bend right now when he's on the campaign trail.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Hey, fair enough, Paulie. Thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it. You take care.
Thank you.
All right. So again, a lot of people say yes. Somebody says, I definitely think that he should resign because he threw the police under the bus. Okay, he did throw the police under the bus. And again, it appears to be a justified shooting at this point in time with all of the evidence that we have. But, we're going to be dealing with another month of protests. We've got Black Lives Matter coming in here in less than 2 weeks. They're going to be doing the protest. There's some other rumblings about possible protests around that. So, again, we have people looking at this and saying he's not here enough. And that's a bit of an issue. There are others who are looking at this and going, look, he's going to have meetings with people in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, however his schedule is working out. He's going to be going over those issues. He's going to make recommendations, that sort of thing. We live in the 21st century. You can obviously be effective as a leader without having to be on location. And we saw what happened, by the way, when he did come back. When he came back, it ended up being a bit of a bad thing for him. I told everybody he never should have canceled that speech at the DNC. It made no sense for him to come back based on the evidence that we had. And he came back and he actually put his campaign in jeopardy. Now, some of you thought that he was done. I cautioned you against that line of thinking, and I appear to be correct on that today. We'll talk about that later on in the program. But at the same time, there's a lot of folks that looked at this and said, hey, him being here is actually making things worse. Maybe he needs to go. So there could be a little bit of that also. 574-2595-95-3. There is this other bit that if you do replace him, if he does resign, you replace him. If Mueller gets the nod, which everybody would assume he would based on him being the nominee, then he would be an incumbent. That could give Mueller some time on the job to go ahead and really get acquainted with everything. He's going to likely win re-election at that point. So this could actually benefit Mueller, and then that would free up Pete to go ahead and run for president. Sarah, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So what do you think of this?
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Does Mayor Pete draw a salary from the South Bend taxpayer currently?
Yes, he does.
Okay, then we are effectively paying him with our taxes to do whatever it is he's doing in a presidential campaign. He needs to come home or he needs to resign.
Do you think that he can't run the city remotely?
I don't know. I don't know what all goes into running a city. I would argue that as young as he was when he was elected, it can't be that hard. But he's not doing the greatest job from the road.
Okay, fair enough. So you want him to come home?
Or resign. Yeah, I agree with the Republican personally.
Okay, so you have him resign first. And then would you replace him with Mueller? Would you think that would be the wiser move, since Mueller is the likely next mayor, based on history anyway? We'll see if Sean Haas can overcome that.
Yeah, I hear you there. I would have to research the candidates a little bit more, to be honest, to say which person I would prefer to have in his stead. You know, he may be the lesser two evils. I'm not sure.
Well, again, you got a Republican, you got a Democrat, and Mueller's the guy that would be the Democrat, and they're not going to put, Sean Haas in there. That's not going to happen. So anyway, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You take care.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. I got time for one more before the news break. And we have Jerry. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got a question for you with Mayor. He had a problem here with before with our mayor. She wound up resigning when she was moving on. But anyway, how is Mayor Pete going to be able to deal with our Arab nations when he won't be allowed to come to their country and meet with their leaders?
Well, they'll come here. He'll go there. He'll do tours. It'll be fine, and then he'll come here. They said that about Hillary too, and you know what? She stepped foot in Saudi Arabia and plenty of other places. And I've said this before. I get why people would say that this, his sexuality might be an issue with some of these backward countries. I get that, but at the same time, he's also the president of the United States, and that by in and of itself says you're going to take a meeting with me whether you like it or not. Whether you like me, whether you don't like me, whether you appreciate my lifestyle or not, I'm the president of the United States, and you're going to grovel at my feet.
But do you think he's going to have? You think he's going to have the gall or to say to stand up to these countries? Because Iran,
you never know, man.
Have nothing to do with them.
You never know until somebody's in office. You never know. For a long time, Obama wasn't willing to do it, and then eventually he found some strength to do it. A lot of people said that Trump wouldn't be able to do it, and he's clearly done it. So you never know until they get into office. But
the problem with him though is he being gay, that they don't tolerate gays.
I know they don't tolerate women in power either, but Hillary still was able to do her job over there.
Hillary had money going out to them though. That was the difference with her.
He'll just give him some money then, Jerry. It'll be fine. See?
Yeah, we can send another 400 million.
All right. I appreciate the argument. I just don't agree with it. All right, man. Appreciate the call.
All right.
Thank you much. All right. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Monkey, what?
You get taking more calls on that?
I'll take the last one because they've been waiting.
Okay.
All right.
The perspective to consider is everything that's involved in changing over to administration, even if it's within the same company.
It's not an easy thing to do.
No. Especially in the middle of a crisis. Everyone wants change when things aren't going around exactly.
Right. There's a lot of people who are just using it as an opportunity to get rid of them, which I can appreciate, but the real question is, will it help?
Yeah, it's not about when, it's about how.
Right. All right, cool. Then we'll move on. All right.
He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police do not believe that alcohol was a factor in that crash, and it remains under investigation.
Am I doing the 4th of July? We're working the 4th of July, right? Or we got 4th of July off?
We should have 4th of July.
I don't know, guys. I have no idea. That is a great question.
Could you show up and light stuff on fire?
I'm not opposed to that, especially after B100 is trying to send me spam emails. Their little test they're doing.
We could always take that email and send it up for spam bot. Yeah. They'll get 12 spam emails every minute.
Yeah, I've considered it.
I may or may not have done that to a former news director.
Yeah, well, they deserve it. We're just testing our system. Go ahead and put all of your information in there.
I didn't. They asked me and I said, nope.
I almost didn't, but I only gave them a real email address, but it was one of my spam addresses, so.
How are things in the house, by the way?
All right. They're doing what they're doing. Some upgrades and all of that. Start getting going. I'm actually purchasing it. I'll find out about the 4th, guys. I mean, I would hope that we had it off, but I honestly did not think about it.
I can't imagine that we don't have it off.
I mean, of all of the holidays for John to make us work, that would be a silly one to make us work when he gives us weird ones off. But
oh, that's right. It's a Thursday this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm really not paying attention.
Yeah.
That explains why John said that he'd be back on Friday. So hey, there you go. He said Joe'd be back on Friday, so there's no show on Thursday.
I'll send him a text just to be sure.
Read between the lines, we always bet off.
Well, I can't read between the lines because he's given me the day off to go to award ceremonies and then freaked out when I said, I'll see you tonight at the awards. What do you mean? You said I could go. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I just told you to RSVP. Yes, John.
If I RSVP,
what does that mean?
Responde s'il vous plaît.
Yeah. I still work here. There you go. Here's your RSVP.
This is Hoosier Ag Today's Monday closing farm market reports. Corn and wheat had big losses on Friday. They continue that trend today, but today soybeans followed along. Good afternoon, I'm Eric Pfeiffer. After releasing the quarterly grain stocks and planted acreage reports that shocked the
I'll know by the 5th. That's right, B-dubs. I will know by the 5th.
Hey, do you like the Bears anniversary jerseys they put out?
The throwbacks for 36?
Yeah.
The 36 or 38 that they're doing? It's not a matter of liking them. They look exactly like the uniforms from that year.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
Yeah, no,
they are
they're dead on.
spot on. So it's not a matter of liking it. It's a matter of does it look like the year that they're paying homage to?
I guess that's true. I never thought about that.
Like when the Eagles did theirs, those god-awful ones
Or the
a couple of years ago.
Bumblebees, the Bronco Bumblebees.
Yeah, but they look just like the damn uniform. So, I mean, I'm not going to... Yeah, they're ugly, but they look exactly like the damn uniform. So, as far as I'm concerned, job well done.
Modern Kitchen on McKinley, east of Ash Road in Elkhart.
I never really thought about looking at it like that. Yeah. People are like, I can't stand them. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like them. They're retro.
I mean, they're definitely retro. 1936 retro or 38 or whatever year it is this year. But
did you hear Virginia McCaskey's statement when they asked her about it? Do you remember what the uniforms? Because she was 14 at the time. Which is a weird thing to say. They asked her,
she's old.
What do you think of the uniforms? And she said, well, back when I was that age, I was paying less attention to the uniforms and more attention to the men that were wearing them.
She's a trip.
96 years old, she can say whatever she wants.
Damn right. I can't have the 4th off because you're going to be out on the road. Well, maybe they're going to do a patriotic dealio or they're going to run reruns of my show or something. So technically, maybe I won't be off. And you get to listen to my wisdom while you're on the road, dude. If the weather permits, I'll be on the road with the motorcycle. So, they that.
Thanks for calling Casey's Show. This is Carl. I can help you.
Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea.
My neck is killing me today.
Maybe to take cash out of your home.
Remind me during one of the commercial breaks, folks, because I will forget. Remind me. I will give you an update on the diet because some stark realizations happened over the weekend. So
let me check with Casey real quick and see if he's gonna take any more. Hold on for 1 sec.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. I'm going to do more on Buttigieg.
Okay. 5 o'clock. We are going to be back on this topic again. If you want to listen in and call in then. Until then, he's got something else you got to get to.
So many languages. Is it because they use Babbel, the #1
Absolutely.
language learning app in Europe?
You're welcome. Take care.
Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons and award-winning
Is that
technology.
kind of the way you usually do it? You swing it back to 5?
I always thought
On some things, especially if it's really big news or if I have additional topics devoted to it. So, like, I've got like 5 other stories devoted to it, including his campaign. Staff are getting in big trouble today.
I'm third in line now.
Yep.
You get sick. So I got to figure
Third in line. Yeah.
It's going to end up being like, all right, let's talk about grilling for an hour.
I mean, it's like the mornings when you're doing an afternoon drive. Your 3 o'clock audience is totally different than your 5 o'clock, so you can reset.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I just didn't know if that was just because that's become the more popular thing for program directors to tell their talent to do is to recycle.
Sure.
I didn't know if that was by demand or if that was just something you picked up.
If it's big stuff, I'll do it. If everything is just kind of like a kicker topic that day, I won't. But there's no sense in recycling something that's silly. Obviously, this is a big deal. So, no, I don't. Sure don't. I don't blame Pete for being gone. South Bend is scary.
You can be a silent hero for the community. Local hospitals depend on blood donations.
Funny.
From South Bend Medical Foundation to aid in emergency.
You're a wisecracker.
Patients in need. And to thank you for
I don't mean to racially assign race, but you cracker.
It's our way of saying thanks.
What do we got here?
Wise Cookie?
Wise Cookie?
I believe Cookie is race neutral.
Well, if you go with natural sugar, right, it's more brown. So, yeah, it could be multicultural. Makes sense.
Nothing's more multicultural than a snickerdoodle.
True. I guess.
Are you a lifelong learner looking to ensure you're making the very best decisions when it comes to your retirement planning? This is
All right.
Seaweed, and if this sounds
It says, do you have a live Second Amendment Arms and Range thing, or is that just...
That's just the half-hour liner.
Okay, cool.
So they're like show sponsor.
Just making sure.
Alrighty. Yeah, keep an eye out for Southwest Vision.
Okay.
That gets buried in commercial breaks it shouldn't be in. Yeah, so we got Southwest Vision, we've got Elkhart Indian, we've got Impress. So, got a few of them.
Big questions. Plus, right now, we are including a special discount offer exclusively for radio listeners of $5 off your purchase. Just use the promo code 5OFFHB. That's the number 5 OFFHB. Just go to retirewithpurpose.com.
Come on, you a-hole.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
From the final phase, electric
It would be nice if I could get this done before I have to talk. That'd be great. Can you do that for me? Thanks, WordPress. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. Hey, look at that. Nightbot didn't mess with you, Mike. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. And do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. Again, if you mention me, you get half off your range time. You get 10% off in the store. That includes ammo, accessories, targets, all of that stuff. And you get listener-exclusive discounts on firearms. Go to secondamendmentarms.net. Okay. Well, it's another day in Portland, and it's another violent attack by Antifa, who is the most ironically named organization probably in the modern era. It's funny, I had a listener send me a thing today, and they had the latest Antifa flag, which is the 3 arrows kind of facing down, which was actually kind of a throwback to a group in Germany that was, I think it was the Iron Gate or something like that. They were trying to stave off the Nazis while the Nazis were becoming a political force. This is before Nazi Germany. And so that was their flag. They had these 3 arrows. So Antifa has adopted this, again, extremely ironic logo in spite of the fact that they behave far more like the Nazis than, well, anybody else really in this country does. So, confirmation from the Portland police that some of the milkshakes, there was one of the Antifa groups, I guess they had posted that they had acquired 720 some odd milkshakes before the protests. Of course, the latest thing is milkshaking people and throwing milkshakes on individuals, which of course is a form of assault. And then that will lead to other people doing other things, throwing other things and that sort of stuff. If you go back to Charlottesville, again, it's important to know because we just had the guy who killed that girl with his car in Charlottesville. He was just sentenced to life in prison. He pled guilty. But the violence in Charlottesville was started by Antifa, according to local law enforcement. And local law enforcement said they were pouring cement into soda cans and they were throwing the soda cans. That's what they were doing. So they're basically throwing a brick at people's heads. So as the violence kept erupting over those next couple of days, people were obviously angry and on edge, and your brain turns off when that happens, and that leads to more violence and, unfortunately, people losing their life. So this is an old tactic of theirs. They've also put acid. They've put other things inside of these drinks and things of that nature. So these milkshakes, which, again, this kind of got started over in the UK, throwing milkshakes on political opposition. And now you've got them throwing these milkshakes with quick drying cement in them. And that is confirmed by the Portland police on their Twitter. Now, of course, Portland police, when they post this, they say, we've received information that some of the milkshakes thrown today during the demonstration contain quick drying cement. We are encouraging anybody hit with a substance today to report it to police. And the comments on this are just shredding the police department. Like, maybe you do your job and allow people to be safe while they're out there. Maybe that would be a thing, because you have to understand something. In Portland, every time there's an Antifa protest, somebody gets assaulted and somebody gets hurt. And Portland has actually allowed Antifa to take over entire sections of the city where they control traffic and the streets. And we've showed you video of that, where people are going by and they're breaking windows, they're attacking these people and all of that stuff. And the police don't do anything about it. They never do anything about it. Now, I guess the police are under orders not to intervene. I don't know. I don't know what the police department's personal opinions are. I don't know what their chief's personal opinions are in reference to all of this stuff on how the police should handle it. But I can tell you that the police have basically been told to let it go. And so people get seriously hurt. So we've got an old man who was beaten with a crowbar. That got caught on video. Okay, we're talking about a guy in his late 60s, early 70s maybe, beaten with a crowbar. The guy who came and rescued him had his head split open. He had stitches. And do you know why they were attacked? Because they were apparently helping a gay guy who was wearing a dress, they said, who was being harassed by members of Antifa. So they were helping this gay guy, and they were attacked. They were also part of the Him Too movement that was doing a protest out there, or a rally, if you will. And it was designed to raise awareness about false accusations and men who are also sexually assaulted. So, again, these are all worthwhile things to be out there protesting, but Antifa doesn't like it because, again, everything is fascist except for them, which is the most ironic statement ever. But Andy Ngo, who is a journalist, and it's actually quite interesting watching other journalists say that he's not a journalist, considering all of the news that he does. He is, in fact, a journalist. Andy Ngo, who writes for Quillette, was physically assaulted. He got a brain hemorrhage. He was beaten. They threw milkshakes on him. He was also robbed, and it was all captured on camera. And this is not the first time that they've come after him. This is just the worst that he's ever gotten it. So this all happened in Portland. And the fact of the matter is, you look at Twitter, and you look at the blue checkmark verified so-called journalists, and one of them was actually a bigwig at Human Rights Watch, made fun of Andy Ngo for getting assaulted and defended Antifa for beating him up. What a wonderful world, huh? Like I said, the most ironically named organization ever. It is important that we point out the FBI has said they use domestic terroristic tactics, though they haven't declared them a domestic terrorist organization. The only place to declare them a terrorist organization is New Jersey. Berkeley, California, even Berkeley says they should be considered as a street gang. So there's a lot of people looking at this and going, all right, enough is enough with Antifa. At some point, there's going to have to be some recognition of how violent this group is And at some point, the media, I'm looking at you, CNN, who cut out all of the actual assault of Andy Ngo over the weekend, cut out all of the bad bits that were captured on camera to make it look like his assault wasn't that bad. Yeah, he just shoved and they threw a milkshake on him. That was it. Didn't get a brain hemorrhage or anything and end up in the hospital. So CNN cut all of that out and basically excused it. But watching all of these so-called journalists and members of the mainstream media make fun of Andy Ngo and justify Antifa attacking him when he has done nothing but do his job. You can say he's an antagonistic journalist for Antifa, without a doubt. But what do you think most of the journalists in the White House press pool are to the president? Do they deserve to be attacked like this as well? Of course they don't. We got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
All right, I'm going to go grab a quick refill of coffee. I'll be right back.
Here's a look at your 5-day forecast. We're in and out of the sun and clouds again for today, with only an isolated chance for a shower or storm in the late morning and afternoon hours. But it will be hot once again. 89 degrees for today. Definitely feeling like the mid-90s this afternoon. Dropping down to 70 overnight tonight. Very similar forecast for tomorrow, with only a slight chance for an afternoon shower or storm. On Wednesday, the shower and thunderstorm chances do increase for the afternoon hours, but temperatures cool down just a little bit, right around 86 degrees. 85 for 4th of July, with things calming down by sunset on Thursday, so it should be good to go for the fireworks shows. And a very similar forecast still for Friday. The heat and humidity still hanging around with a high of 85. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alex County.
95.3 MNC keeps you on time. Weekday mornings with traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the 6s during Michiana's Morning News with Mark McGill. And before your drive comes to a grinding halt, get traffic alerts direct to your cell phone. Text news to 45364 from the station that keeps you moving on air, online, and on your cell. From News Talk 95.3 Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
He's out there.
Seriously?
Yeah, in the hallway. Talking to Steph. He's like, I haven't seen Stryker. Like, we were supposed to have lunch and he ghosted us. And I was like, nobody's seen Stryker in like months.
I told John about that last week. I said, I'm like, you don't have any idea what's happening to Stryker, do you? He's like, what do you mean? Like, he's been gone for like a month.
People are texting the bear about it. But the funny thing is, he's talking to Steph. And I'm like, I don't think Stryker exists anymore.
Hold on. This is the picture that one of my friends made and sent to me. He's a regular listener to the bear, and I laughed so hard I damn near spit my soda everywhere.
Oh, man. That's good.
No, that's,
yeah, we can see that, Tracy.
Make the personal connections on campus in the small class sizes with individual attention.
5950.
Connect with the professors that take active roles as community and industry leaders in your area. With bachelor's, master's, and online programs at Bethel, we understand because we're growing too. Visit us at Bethel University. Apply today online at betheluniversity.edu. Next classes start June 30th.
When those giant scissors come out for a grand opening ceremony, it's the staff that's in the photo.
Well, that's interesting, Alex. All right, I'll take a look at it.
Our numerous contractors
2 employees reportedly exposed to sarin at a warehouse owned by Facebook.
And on budget. From the very first step.
What in the world would Facebook be doing with sarin gas?
Well, I mean, maybe somebody sent them sarin gas. I don't know. Or
it's part of their ultimate plan to take over the world.
Why is Peter only icon? I was testing it and I forgot that I did it. Sorry. I meant to do the other one. Yeah, I dried out after a while. My wife kind of ruined my evening that night. So
help you sleep easy. You've got better things to do. Let us hook you up. Find Final Phase Electric on Facebook or visit Final.
You got to admit, I mean, the Pete icon on Twitch is pretty funny. I just did it as a test, just to mess around with it, and I forgot to go back and actually finish everything. So sorry.
Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you; it finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. the needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now,
does he usually vamp you out at the bottom of the hour, top of the hour?
Right. Free.
In the
Just
Fox
go
News?
to this
He
exclusive
doesn't,
web
but he
address,
should.
ZipRecruiter.com
Okay, well then I will do that for you.
Thank you.
Free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The top local stories, updated all the time on 953mnc.com.
Can we have a McGill emote? I can work on that.
Breaking news and weather station.
Oh, Tracy, those wings are of that message. All right, so there's a couple more things on this Andy No bit, and where is his? Hold on a second. I grabbed something from his lawyer, and I thought that I saved it. Maybe I didn't save it, because his lawyer, she is awesome. Like, I kind of want her on retainer for no reason. She's that good. But she is just going berserk in a good and professional way, by the way, on social media defending her client. And essentially what ended up happening is, she goes out there and she said, good night, everybody, except for, and she just blasted them. Let me hop onto Twitter, because I know that I saved it on my Twitter and get to it here in just a second. But first, let me just go ahead and do this one. So the Quillet founder, Claire Lehman, has now defended Andy No. As Twitchy reported earlier, Snopes well and truly screwed the proverbial pooch with their summation of what happened to Andy No, going so far as to call his outlet Quillet a conservative website. It's not, by the way. Anyone with at least half a brain knows Quillet is hardly a conservative site. Granted, Snopes may well have less than half of a brain, but we digress. This is Twitchy.com. Quillet founder Claire Lehman called Snopes out. What kind of fact-checking is this? Andy No is indeed an editor with us. He is a journalist. And no, Quillet is not a conservative website. We are all political moderates of a liberal centrist persuasion. Because basically what they said on Snopes is Andy No, who describes himself as an editor at the conservative website Quillet, says that he is hated by Antifa, said that he was attacked by anti-fascist protesters and had been taken to the hospital to treat injuries to his face and his head. Again, he is an editor. He doesn't say he's an editor or describe himself as an editor. He is, and they are not a conservative website. So she rightly called them out. So good for them. But here's the thing, we're looking at this and the multiple so-called journalists and even the people with Human Rights Watch. I mean, just, these human rights groups and things like that, they're supposed to be all in favor of keeping the peace and, making sure that violence is not the one that was used and that sort of stuff. They're out there just completely defending Antifa, and they're blaming him. Oh, he antagonized him. Okay, well, by that logic, then, a woman who goes out late at night wearing a short skirt was antagonizing the rapist. And of course, that is a ludicrous claim. And the notion that somebody who covers Antifa accurately, by the way, would somehow be justified in them attacking him is just absolutely and completely absurd. So this is completely ridiculous that people are doing that. But again, that's what's happening. So her name is Harmeet Dillon. This is his attorney. Good night, everyone except Antifa criminals who I plan to sue into oblivion and then sow salt into their yoga studios and avocado toast stands until nothing grows there, not even the glimmer of a violent criminal conspiracy aided by the impotence of a cowed city government. Ouch. This is the girl you want going to court for you, without a doubt. No, I shouldn't call her a girl. She is a flat-out woman. So she is representing Andy No, and she is planning on filing a legal brief. 3 people have been arrested from the violence that night. We do not know if those are the 3 that actually attacked Andy No or the 2 gentlemen, including the senior citizen that was beaten with a crowbar for doing nothing but coming to the aid of a gay man, according to the reports anyway that we have. But this is what we have, and we have an absolutely horrendously awful media, and we have people out there who keep telling you that violence is not the answer, and then they justify violence and they excuse violence and they cover up violence when they happen with this organization, just like they did. Remember when all the Democrats were also praising Antifa, and then finally, after the violence at Berkeley, they had to back away and say, all right, we're not in anymore on this? Isn't it weird how so many other people have not joined in with those Democrats and backing away for their support for this violent organization? Isn't that interesting? We got more coming up. We're going to talk about this situation with Facebook. There's something going on with sarin at one of their warehouses. I'm going to pull up some more information on this and let you know. This is breaking news. Again, apparently some employees over at one of the Facebook warehouses or something has been exposed to sarin gas. We'll talk about that coming up in just a couple of seconds right here on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. You can also watch the live stream at youtube.com/CaseyTheHost and twitch.tv/CaseyTheHost.
Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your top stories right now. They won't settle for less. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That message from National Security Advisor John Bolton denying a New York Times report that the administration would consider a nuclear by North Korea instead of denuclearization.
Administration officials say the position from this administration is still to get North Korea to dismantle its weapons program. North Korea has publicly pushed the administration to change its negotiating position to agree to give up.
By the way, that tone sets it up for exactly 1 minute. So when you hear that, you've got 1 minute.
Okay.
This is Rich Edson at the White House. It's come the day after President Trump's unexpected third meeting with Kim Jong-un, which included an historic walk into North Korea. The White House just reacting to Iran's announcement that it is now violating the 2015 nuclear deal by boosting its uranium stockpile. The White House says the deal should never have allowed any uranium enrichment.
Yep.
The U.S. maximum pressure campaign on Iran will continue. President Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal last year. Potentially bad news from a federal judge for a congressman accused of corruption. Fox's Bernal Scott has this live.
Police judge ruled charges against California
He's
Republican
probably already
Doug Hunter and
Or I just, couldn't see it.
trying to hide it will stand. The hearing was full of legal maneuvers. Prosecutors claimed much of Representative Hunter's misuse of money was to
Judge
not only
Judy's looking especially
lavish,
haggish
but
today.
cover up a number of affairs. Hunter's defense responded with claims of political bias against federal attorneys. They also want to change the trial's venue. The judge did not rule on allowing Hunter's wife, Margaret, as a prosecution witness. She pleaded guilty to corruption last month. The trial is set to start in September.
Thanks, Bernal. A rally to start July on Wall Street. The Dow up 117 points at the closing bell after a record opening, fueled in part by renewed optimism about trade talks with China. This is Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and 95.3MNC.com.
I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this Monday afternoon, St. Joseph County fair officials are standing firm after a fight broke out at the fairgrounds over the weekend.
A video from Saturday night shows a group of underage girls and boys brawling at the fairgrounds, and the people involved were removed and banned. Fair President Jim Caldwell said it was an isolated incident and was just a real bad decision on their part, and that we don't tolerate bad behavior. A South Bend police officer was able to get to the fight to help break it up, and Caldwell wants to stress that it's a safe and fun family event, and tells ABC 57 that any violence like this will be immediately dealt with, and anyone being disruptive will be taken off the property and banned.
That's 95.3 MNC's Carl Stutzman. Two local foundations are providing grant money for improvements at the Niles Buchanan YMCA. The grant will help close the $1 million gap between $3 million needed for improvements and expansion at the facility. This will include an additional 13,700 square feet of space, new youth and teen center facilities, an additional gym, and a fitness room. Groundbreaking on the 6 to 8.
Now it feels like
Fall. And finally, the Hoosier Lottery is set to consider whether players in Indiana should be allowed to purchase tickets online for Powerball, Mega Millions, and instant games as they are in bordering states.
The study is
of course they should be.
strategy, capital investment, and crews needed to launch games online.
I don't know.
As well as projected revenue are being
We can't buy alcohol on Sundays after 8 o'clock because the demons might get us.
Well, those damn demons. At least they keep a tight schedule. I'll give them that.
That's 95.3 MNC's John Zimney reporting.
Weather
I had that happen 2 weeks ago because I forgot that it was between noon and 8. I went to go buy beer. I had family coming over. It was 11:58. I literally just stood there. There was nobody else.
Yuppity yup.
Like, all right, I'll wait 2 minutes because it's automatic in the system. There's nothing the people can do about it.
No, it shuts down. Nothing they can do.
God doesn't want me to buy beer before noon.
He's totally okay with it as long as it's after noon.
11:58. Nope.
Did you wait or no?
Oh yeah, I just sat there. I just stood there and waited. I stood there for 2 minutes and then waited.
If I can't buy it, then I can't steal it. I'm just going to sit here and drink this.
If I can't buy it, then I can't steal it. I'm just going to start drinking now.
Doesn't count as a product if I can't buy it in your store.
Tough business decisions every day.
Let's see how many of these I can finish before I can actually buy it.
There you go.
July is back and bigger than ever. Get no-brainer deals on the very latest
It
computers.
was Coors Light. I was set up for
and a
disappointment
huge
anyway.
selection of servers, electronics.
Why would you do that?
That's what my uncle and my grandfather did.
At least it's not natty ice.
You know what I've got back at the house? No, I still have 2 sixers full of come on, Spotted Cow from New Glarus in Wisconsin. It's the only good thing that comes out of the state of Wisconsin.
Which one is?
Spotted
Oh, Spotted Cow. Yeah, Spotted Cow is good.
Spotted Cow's
Yeah, it's real good. I got a couple in my fridge right now I can't drink.
Friend picked me up a case and it was there last week.
Sweet. You gave a streamer from down south the Pete emoji? That is funny.
It's wild out there. When it gets too wild, Progressive has your RV covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Did you turn on your old air conditioner and realize it just isn't cooling like it used to? Before it gets too hot, replace your old central air conditioner and furnace for as low as $20 a week, or 0% financing for 60 months with Home Comfort Experts Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Summer is when it seems like everyone's AC unit starts making funny noises, stops turning on, or creates hot and cold spots in your home. It's a nasty trend.
What happened to my stream?
You already know it's time to replace. Home Comfort Experts anticipated this trend.
I've got no indication of anything bad over here, so what's going on?
The savings on these units makes them almost free. If your current system is older than 10 years, you can replace your old central air conditioner and furnace with newer, more efficient ones that make it possible to actually end up even with payments and savings. Just call 255-4600 to get your new central air conditioner and furnace for $20 a week or 0% financing for up to 60 months.
Alrighty.
Happy Independence Day. We are open on the 4th of July. Celebrate with some good food. See you at the prank table.
From the final phase.
All right, we're going to talk about this sarin dealio here. See what we got. It really isn't much.
Commercial electrical done right. This is
That's weird. Sorry.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking
News and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that. I also want to remind you that kids shoot free on Wednesday over at Second Amendment Arms and Range. You have to have a shooting parent with them, so you can get great discounts. You can also get the kids properly trained up on how to handle a firearm safely. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. A deadly poison, sarin, has been detected at a mail facility for Facebook. This is in Menlo Park, California, prompting FBI to get involved, and there's evacuations and everything else. The routine test for sarin detected the presence of the substance in a mail bag at the social media tech firm's offices. Now, again, we don't know if this is legitimate or if this is a false positive, okay? We're just letting you know what's being reported here in the past, 20, 30 minutes. See, the mail bag is now under quarantine. Let's see. It is possible that the detection is a false positive. One official did say a number of people who work at the facility are now being monitored, but no one is currently showing any symptoms of exposure. And if they have been exposed, they would have already shown symptoms for this. Okay, so this is a positive sign. The MPFD officials, who would not say exactly how many people were being monitored, thought, though other news reports have suggested that there's 2 people involved. Sarin is, again, man-made nerve agent used in chemical warfare, and extra bonus points if you know that sarin comes from organophosphates, which is a pesticide, or an insecticide, I should say, which was in large quantities in Iraq at the time of the invasion, and was protected by anti-aircraft guns, because everybody protects their bug spray with anti-aircraft guns and camouflage netting, everybody. San Francisco Gate reported that 2 buildings at Facebook's headquarters have been evacuated. Facebook spokesperson has not responded to Business Insider's request for comment. Other than that, that's pretty much all we have. Now, hopefully this ends up being a false positive. I would assume that it would be a false positive. It does happen occasionally with these chemical sniffers, okay? Sometimes you look for the ingredients, and sarin can be made, again, with household ingredients, same with mustard and that sort of thing. So sometimes things just happen. But right now, we are watching this, we're monitoring it, but we don't really have any additional information. There appears to be 2 people that are being monitored for possible exposure. We don't know a whole bunch about where the package came from, if it actually was a nefarious package or anything of that nature. So we'll keep an eye on it. In the meantime, speaking of weapons of mass destruction, Iran has amassed more enriched uranium than allowed under the nuclear deal. Now, before you knee-jerk yourselves into saying that this is Trump's fault, you have to remember that Iran is still a signatory of an in-effect nuclear deal. Just because the United States pulled out of it doesn't mean Iran did with the other countries that it signed the deal with. So Iran has again violated the nuclear agreement between all of these countries. So the United States got a little sick and tired of it. This is one of the things that Trump had said early on, is like, they keep violating this thing. Do you remember when John Kerry came out there and said, I don't understand why they would violate the terms of the agreement? Because they're Iran and they do that. Like, they always do that. That's kind of what they do. Remember, they wanted the heavy water nuclear reactors because you can drink the deuterium water to cure cancer and AIDS. Because everybody who has cancer or who is gay, because the Iranians believe that if you're gay, then you're the reason for AIDS. And then they just give you the deuterium water, you die, and then they don't have to worry about it. That is their logic, not mine. Iran announced on Monday that it had amassed more low-enriched uranium than permitted under its 2015 deal with major powers, its first major step beyond the terms of the deal since the United States pulled out of it more than a year ago. Now, again, it's important to note that this is the first time they've violated the deal since the U.S. pulled out. They violated it a couple of times before the U.S. pulled out. The Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif, who announced the move, said it nevertheless did not amount to a violation of the accord, in spite of the fact that it did violate the accord. He argued that Iran was exercising its right to respond to the U.S. walkout. So basically, Iran, who was violating the nuclear deal before the U.S. left the nuclear deal, now says that they can continue violating the nuclear deal with these other countries because the U.S. left the nuclear deal. And if the U.S. is not a part of the nuclear deal, then essentially the deal is null and void, and Iran can do whatever the heck it wants. The step, however, could have far-reaching consequences for diplomacy at a time when European countries are trying to pull the United States and Iran back from the brink of war. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think we're that close, ladies and gentlemen. It comes less than 2 weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump ordered airstrikes on Iran, only to cancel them minutes before impact. By the way, I don't know if I told you all this. Iran says that there was an aircraft in the air that had like 50 people aboard that they didn't blow up because they didn't want to kill any Americans. No confirmation if there actually was an aircraft in the air that they could have shot down that would have had Americans killed. European powers who remain party to the accord and have tried to keep it in place urged Iran not to take further steps that would violate it, but they held off on declaring the agreement void or announcing sanctions of their own. In other words, this is going down pretty much how we all expected it to go down, pretty much how Trump said it would go down, because, again, history is repeating itself. And we have the Iranians doing the same thing that they have done with every agreement that we have had with them on nuclear power, energy, weapons, whatever you want to call it. The UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, a bunch of idiots, by the way, which monitors Iran's nuclear program under the deal, confirmed in Vienna that Tehran had breached the limit. And then Tehran fired back, "We have not violated the JCPOA," referring to the deal by its former title, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Para 36 of the accord illustrates why we triggered and exhausted Para 36 after U.S. withdrawal, he wrote, referring to a paragraph of the accord which contains the mechanism for countries to resolve disputes. He said that Iran had waited 60 weeks after notifying other signatories before acting. As soon as E3 abide by their obligations, we'll reverse, he said, referring to European powers Britain, Germany, and France, which Iran has demanded guarantee it the access to world trade envisioned under the deal. So basically what they're saying is, the United States left the deal, and so we can go ahead and go beyond those provisions. And until these other countries grant us the stuff that we think that we're supposed to get under the deal, then we're going to continue to violate the deal. But one of the reasons that these countries have maintained that Iran has not been opened up to some of these provisions is because Iran keeps violating the deal. So again, you can be a European power and say, hey, look, we want to do everything we can to go ahead and make this work out. That's great. That's fine. That's dandy. But at some point in time, you're going to have to look at this and go, all right, we're doing the same thing over and over again here. And like I said, I know the old quote is wrong about doing the same thing over and over again being the definition of insanity. I know that is not true, nor is it the definition of insanity. But we like to say that thing, and it's convenient when we put it in a place like this. Stop doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what these countries are doing. The move is a test of European diplomacy after French, British, and German officials had promised a strong diplomatic response if Iran fundamentally breached the deal. The Europeans who opposed last year's decision by Trump to abandon the agreement signed under his predecessor Obama had pled with Iran to keep within the parameters. Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt said that Britain wants to preserve the pact because we don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. But if Iran breaks that deal, then we are out of it as well. Guess what? They broke the deal again. So at some point in time, you're going to have to make a decision that you're either going to let Iran continue to string you along, or you're going to have to come up with another strategy, because these wordplay dealios with them, they don't work, okay? It's nothing wrong with trying it once or twice, but over the years, as we have been trying this since the 70s, really, we've been trying this with Iran. They consistently violate these deals. They have consistently been enriching uranium beyond peaceful uses, all right? Here's the thing. You can enrich uranium for a peaceful use. But once you get beyond a certain threshold, you're starting to weaponize it. And Iran has been doing that for I've been in this business, 12 years, 13 years? And they've been doing it since my first year, at least, that I'm aware of. And it's consistent over and over and over again. And we keep making these deals with them, hoping that somehow it's going to change. It's not. It's run by crazy people. And until there's a big power shift over there that allows a sane person to become the supreme leader in Iran, then, because again, the president doesn't control that country at all, then we can have a discussion about it. But right now, nope, it just looks like the same old Iran, same old useless deal that doesn't actually accomplish anything. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news.
Yeah, I just saw the magazine thing. Just saw it.
I'm assuming you're not talking to me.
Nope.
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, John gets in here too, and he thinks I'm chatting at him. I'm like, no, John, I'm talking to everybody else.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, it won't rain all day on any one of those days, but the chance for showers and storms is certainly there for the next 5 afternoons.
I did bring my poncho today in case I did get some rain today. So, I did check the weather.
From the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Tyler Sebring.
Station to turn to when the weather turns bad.
Severe weather season is here. This is ABC 57 meteorologist Tom Coombs. If you're home when a tornado strikes, your best protection is to go to the basement and under a heavy table or workbench, or cover yourself with a mattress or sleeping bag. If there is no basement, get to the lowest floor of a small center room like a bathroom or closet, or under the stairs. Crouch low to the floor, face down, and cover your head with your hands.
95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
So what should I do for a McGill emoji then?
Piece of cake.
A piece of cake?
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management.
The great donut incidents of, what was it, 2014?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Jesus.
294-5678.
That was right before I left.
Was it?
Yeah.
I buy houses in any condition, any price
It was like the
range,
week.
and any location. I am not a realtor or associated.
You don't have to stop to go to the bathroom when you ride in the rain. The issue wasn't riding in the rain. The issue was I'm pretty sure I got hailed on. And then the tornado sirens went off. And it was starting to flood. And at that point I was like, do I have the traction on some of these roads? That was the concern. The bike handled great though. I mean, if nothing else, it was a confidence builder for riding in the rain for the first time. But I was drenched. Did y'all see the video that my wife posted of it? She waited for me out front.
294-5678.
Ever wonder why Europeans speak so many languages?
No.
Is it because they use Babbel, the
Probably
#1
not.
selling language learning app in Europe?
I doubt it.
Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons and award-winning technology can have you speaking Spanish, French, or German within weeks.
That sounds like an over-exaggeration.
Yeah.
After using Babbel, I can tell you, I was just taught that.
Ah, did my grandma join us? What's up, Grandma? How you doing?
$350 a month and get a whole year of
I love your
unlimited
grandma.
access. That's BABBEL.com and select
She's
your
hanging out.
language.
Warning.
No, she had a doctor's appointment today.
Warning signs are handy, but you may not always get one when it comes to your identity or the personal information on your devices. Good thing.
You know, it's kind of funny too, Dean, about that location thing, because I do the Google surveys, and it is amazing how many times they ask me which place I visited, and none of them are in town. So it's like, is somebody else getting confused with me, or is this just a random test of what's going on?
Need to remodel your existing office, retail, commercial, or industrial space? FM Construction in Elkhart makes any renovation easy, no matter how big or small the job. Need a new building?
God, they have me voicing a lot of commercials lately.
Systems and uses only American-made Nucor steel. With more than 37 years of experience, FM Construction has built some of the area's finest commercial buildings. Call FM Construction, Tony Campanello, or Adam.
We went to 72 different cities last month. That's funny.
Are you hungry for a big meal and don't want to pay a big check? Let MyDealsMichiana.com cover it for you. At MyDealsMichiana.com, you can find gift certificates for up to 50% off your favorite local restaurant.
15-year-old beat Venus Williams. Nice. Good for her.
Wow. That's got to be...
That's a big deal for her.
That's a big deal for anybody, but 15, wow.
Well, Venus Williams is approaching athlete old, so...
A complete recap of the day's news, sports, and traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the 6s. We're back in the morning after 5. It's Michiana 20 News.
The donut you could do in a twister? Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it was posted on Facebook, Frank. My wife just posted it, and I think she tagged me in it. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also watch the live stream. Go to youtube.com/Casey the host. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Click the thumbs up button right there. A lot of people watch. They don't give me the thumbs up. Please do that. That helps tremendously to irritate YouTube to no end with their algorithms, because the more you interact with each video, then the more the algorithm is forced to actually pick up the video and recommend it to other people. If you're on Twitch, you can follow or subscribe. And, of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription anyway. So you can use your Prime membership to subscribe to my Twitch channel anyway. So go to twitch.tv/Casey the host if you prefer that platform. Okay. A mayor and doctors have now been, I think they've been arrested, right? Yeah, they've been arrested. They've arrested 18 people. Okay, this is in Italy, all right? But this is so heinous, and this goes to illustrate how quickly this can happen. I wanted to pass this on to everybody. A mayor and doctors brainwashed kids into believing that they had been abused. so that way they could be separated from their parents and then sold. This is a pretty disgusting story. Italian police have arrested 18 people, including a mayor, social workers, and psychologists, for allegedly brainwashing children into believing that their parents had abused them. This can happen. It does happen. There are documented cases of this happening all over the world. It's a scheme to take them away from their families and sell them to foster parents. In Italy, authorities in the central Italian city of Reggio Emilia, probably butchered that, revealed a network of carers. Now, this is according to the ANSA news agency in Italy. They then allegedly sold the children on to friends and acquaintances in a scheme worth hundreds of thousands of euros. The investigations, codenamed Angels and Demons, started in the summer of 2018 after police received a series of reports of wrongdoing that initially proved to be false. The 18 arrested include the mayor of Bibbiano, a town of about 10,000 people near this city where this all happened, as well as politicians, doctors, social workers, and psychologists. The network initially fabricated false reports to take children away from disadvantaged families. Then they proceeded to convince the children that they had indeed been abused. So essentially what you had is you had politicians, doctors, social workers, and psychologists say, you're too poor to be able to have children. So we're going to convince your kids that you sexually abuse them, turn them against you, take them away from you, and then we're going to sell them to our friends and make tons of money. Wow. Like I said, this can happen, and I think about this quite a bit because, I don't know, maybe I knew that it happened, but as a parent, occasionally your kid will just throw out there, don't hurt me, don't hit me. I'm like, I didn't hit you. What are you talking about? Kid's just mad at you, right? And they will exaggerate and they will do things. Now, most kids calm down and they come right back, but there's a period of time where if you get to the kid at the right moment and you are able to get somebody in there to really stoke this, we've caught prosecutors using professionals to get convictions this way, and Child Protective Services in the United States and many places in the U.S. have been caught manipulating kids in order to go ahead and separate families. And it always seemed a little strange that why would you be interested in doing that? What's in it for you? And it turns out that there might be a lot of money in it for them. You never know. I don't know how Italy's adoption system differs from the United States, so I'm not making any final judgments here. I'm just pointing out that we know that this happens. We know that kids are convinced that they've been abused by so-called psycho professionals when in fact they haven't been abused. We also know that there are various entities of social workers, sometimes law enforcement, things like that, that will also sometimes manipulate the children into making that case because they believe it's true or they want it to be true or what have you. Perhaps there's a more nefarious reason in some of these circumstances. I don't know. But there's 18 people that have now been arrested for this. But now you've got the psychological damage that has happened to these children who have now been told falsely that they have been abused. And of course, police, again, doing the investigations, the police found that some of the accusations against these parents were not true. So you had kids being taken away from the parents based on false accusations, and it led back to all of these so-called professionals who are supposed to be there to protect not only children, but the public in general. And then you have politicians, of course, getting involved in it as well. So this is a pretty evil thing. What's going to happen with them? I don't know. We will do our best to follow the story. Although sometimes stuff from Italy and in Europe does pass by the wayside. We don't always get it. Some other good news is that U.S. oil production has now hit 12 million barrels a day. This is the first time that has happened. So the United States, again, now an oil powerhouse. The report said production grew from 2.1% in April to 12.16 million barrels a day. Shale production in areas such as the Permian Basin of West Texas have recently experienced a boom as well, causing U.S. oil production to overtake that of Saudi Arabia and Russia. So we are now, again, the biggest oil producer in the world. We continue to see the Permian representing the key driver of global oil supply growth over the next 5 years. That is Goldman Sachs analyst Brian Singer. Let's see. Rystad Energy said earlier this year that the United States would likely produce 12.5 million barrels of oil per day during the month of May. Reports state that an estimated 4 million of those barrels will come from shale oil fields and those numbers are expected to rise by the end of 2020 as the operations progress there. However, 2020 presidential hopeful Beto O'Rourke said during an interview on June 13th that we need to free ourselves from fossil fuel, adding it is not going to necessarily be easy, especially since there isn't an alternative, Beto. Good news for us is that Beto's campaign is essentially done. He's toast, especially now that Pete Buttigieg is actually raising money. We'll talk about that in the 5 o'clock hour because I know that I've been critical of his campaign funds and how it's been puffed up and propped up by some in the media, but he actually has real money now. So again, the United States producing good oil, and we are now surpassed Russia, Saudi Arabia for oil production for the month, 12 million barrels plus a day. Now, this comes the point where you send me all of your emails complaining about the price of gas and forget that gas used to be about $5 a gallon. Anyway, get your cell phones and your cameras ready because 95.3 MNC and Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill in Mishawaka present the most patriotic photo contest. We are collecting patriotic photos of all kinds right now, including pics of service members in your family, parades, parties, fireworks, your kids, grandkids, decked out red, white, and blue, what have you. By the way, I will accept GAD's submissions as well, okay? And I will have a conversation with the powers that be if they do not, because if that's not patriotic, then frankly, I don't know what is. Starting on July 15th, after all of your submissions are in, okay? On July 15th, we will then turn it over to the listeners. I get this question every year. Do you really let the listeners vote on this? Yes. Honest to God, we don't decide who wins, okay? We turn it over to you. So if you pick right, awesome. If you pick wrong, awesome for the winner, okay? It's entirely up to you guys. We do not have the system rigged, okay? On July 15th, MNC listeners will vote on who has the most patriotic photo in these submissions. Now, I don't care if you spam it. I don't care if you call all of your friends, your family, your coworkers, and spam those votes. I don't care. Somebody else might care. I don't care. It's just really who comes down to having the most patriotic, most popular photo. It is totally a popularity contest, so you're going to have to hustle on this one. Now, text the word photo to 45364, or you can log on to 953mnc.com and register there. Message and data rates do apply again for both of you who do not have unlimited plans. Now, again, this year, the prize package. This is awesome, okay? You ready for this? We are giving away tickets to see the Chicago Cubs. Tickets, family 4-pack, actually, family 4 packs, multiple, to the South Bend Cubs, Indiana Beach, Deep River Water Park, Kentucky Kingdom, and a $100 gift card to Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. That is a lot of margaritas over there because they don't cost that much. So again, go to 953mnc.com, register for the most patriotic photo contest. Best of luck on your submissions. We have more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Take care, Tracy. Pictures with children always win.
Children and dogs.
Lots of dogs.
Golden Retriever.
Lots of dogs.
American flag bandana around its neck. Wins every time.
Yep. It has won a couple of times, hasn't it?
No, I'm not joking. I'm being serious.
What's up, Muji?
That crash was in the intersection of Bittersweet and Cleveland around 6 o'clock in the morning on June 6th. The victim was riding a motorcycle that was hit by the car and was pronounced dead at the scene. Nelson, whose charges include having a foreign substance in her blood, is due in court Tuesday afternoon.
The Onion. Ruth Bader Ginsburg returns to off-season lifeguarding job.
Jesus. Patriotic photo contest sponsored by a Mexican restaurant. Anybody see the irony here? No. No, no, no. Let's see. Yeah, Dean wants to go to the Kentucky Fun Park. Dress your kid up in flag clothes. You're likely to win. Unless they are with Joe Biden, Alex. That's fine.
If someone just takes a picture of a pile of bacon, I'll vote for it.
Is there anything more American than a pile of bacon with a little tiny American flag in the middle of that bad boy? Damn.
If you make it look like Fort Sumter, that's even better.
Oh, dude, that would be great. What about, okay, I got to figure out how to name this. So you have a log cabin, but it's made out of bacon, but somehow it's tied to Abraham Lincoln. So is it Abraham Bacon? Like his cabin or something? You could do something like that. I don't know, you could do something pretty cool with it. You know, instead of just taking pictures, you could actually like put some
Abraham
effort into
Bacon's
it.
cabin.
What's that?
Abraham Bacon's cabin.
Yeah, totally.
It's pretty good.
Okay, why Fun Park? I got you, Dean. I got
George
you.
Washington chopping down a bacon
The
tree.
bacon tree, yeah. That'd be funny as hell, dude. Bacon tree. That'd be sweet.
Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr dueling with bacon.
I should take a picture of one of my Natty Ice 40s with the American flag in the background. Natty Ice is an American, though.
It's Canadian, isn't it?
Isn't it? I thought it was Canadian. Is Natty Ice Canadian?
Bush is from Iowa.
Nah.
That's about the most American beer there is.
Natural Ice beer.
We're from Wisconsin, at least, right?
I thought Natty Ice was from Canada. Hold on a second. Let me find
Bush was
out.
made with all American corn. It's about as American as it gets.
This is Fox News. Weather served up on Prime Table. Start your morning routine with the Prime Table in Niles. This week
It is in Missouri. We were wrong.
If I'm going to pick a bad beer, I'm going to go with Bush.
Yeah, I mean, for the commercial alone. The commercial is funny.
Yeah, the commercial.
The beer advocate scores 1.81 out of 5. Awful. For Natty Ice.
I think that's being a little generous.
I do too. How it got that close to 2, I don't know. It's got a cult following though, man. It's a bunch of people.
Are you a 20-year-old frat boy who's just looking to get your beer pong on?
There's a bunch of people on my stream who love Natty Ice. So, true story. I went to Martin's in Elkhart for the first time the other day, and they had end caps with like the tall boy Natty Ices. I've never seen a tall boy Natty Ice before. Like I must be in Elkhart. It's the only place in the world who has a tall boy Natty Ice.
Most Elkhart thing I've ever seen. Okay, and I love Elkhart to death. It's my hometown, and there's no place I would rather live. Guy riding a scooter, flip flops, shorts, no shirt, with a case of Natty Ice strapped to the back, and his helmet on top of it.
Helmet's protecting the
He's
beer.
protecting the Natty Ice. I don't know if he was doing that on purpose, but getting a crash when makes the Natty Ice makes it out alive.
That's funny.
Because that $4 you just spent on 56 beers is really.
Since it's sponsored by a Mexican restaurant, dress your kids up like American flag piñatas.
I think that advocates child abuse.
May as well drink Olympia beer. Oh, Olympia beer is awful. It's almost as bad as Rainier beer.
I had Schlitz once.
Schlitz, yeah. Schlitz is not great either.
What was the one that they had? It was like.
That may not be a great idea.
Oh, come on.
Maybe to take cash out of your home
Red
with a
something.
Quicken Loans 30-year
Red Dog?
Huh?
Red Dog?
Yeah.
I was talking to Red Dog the other day.
APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800.
They had that commercial with that red bulldog walking down the street, and I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, that's so badass. I want to be like that dog. And then I grew up, became an adult, and at 13 started drinking it, and realized how horrible it was.
You ever want to get into an argument at a restaurant in Goshen?
Of course.
Stand up in the middle of the restaurant and scream, you know, I think PBR is an overrated beer. Watch all the hipsters turn on. Bad mouth PBR?
Yes, because it's trash. That's why. Is it St. Pauli's or is it PBR that makes... They actually make their money by brewing other people's beer. They brew their beer a little bit, and then they shut down operations. And they brew... Is it PBR? I think it is, yeah, because they brew other people's stuff.
I actually think it used to be PBR. I'm pretty sure PBR is on the other side of that now. They stopped that, and now they have someone else brew their beer for them.
So they've decided to go the other way.
Yeah.
Because I remember doing a show about that a while back.
I'm pretty sure that's because I'm pretty sure that they were. Yeah, because their factories got shut down. The company was basically went under, and because they were part of the conglomerate. And
Right.
I mean, so now PBR is someone else's brewery. I want to say it's like an Anheuser brewery making it for them.
Good Lord. Good Lord, people. Good Lord.
Personal growth is the continuous process of developing and understanding yourself to achieve your full potential. At Bethel University, we recognize the busy demands on life and take an integrated
Hey, look, it's Stryker,
to personal growth.
who doesn't live anymore.
I feel really bad when we find out that he's actually dead.
Adults finish your degree.
Hey, Stephanie doesn't seem all that concerned, so I'm just taking my cues from her, dude. If she seems sad, then I'll be sad. If we find out that she's a homicidal maniac and she's got him stored in her freezer in the basement, then we all have a justifiable reason.
That'd be a really big freezer.
Wouldn't that be some news stories, man? I can't believe we actually have to cover this, but
what? Oh,
our general manager murdered one of our coworkers.
Okay, I was here the day that one of the rock jocks got arrested for DUI in a station vehicle.
I remember.
The only one in the building.
I remember.
When Brad Williams walks into your newsroom at 11 o'clock, you know something.
Never good. Brad, why are you out of bed so early? It's 11 in the morning. You're supposed to be fast asleep.
Brad, you're like the opposite of a vampire. I don't see you. I don't see you in the bed.
I haven't had the mango Blue Moon. Frank says Blue Moon is the worst for him. I just don't like that weird taste. Tastes like vegetable juice.
Has he ever tried pouring it through an orange?
I don't know. No, I like Blue Moon, but it's not for everybody.
Nope. But if you core out an orange and pour it through that, you get some really, and then squeeze it up real good, you get some really interesting flavor.
Yeah. God, what was that? Aprihop. They infuse Aprihop. They sell their infuser for Aprihop, so you can infuse it with all sorts of stuff. And when we did the beer dinner with them, they must have made 8 different beers with it, and it tastes completely different. It was amazing. It's a fine beer by itself, but yeah, you can make all sorts of cool stuff with it. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. Excuse me, got the hiccups. All right. Got to tell you about Second Amendment arms and range. Here's the deal. If you are a new shooter, you need to learn. If you are an experienced shooter, you need to learn how to be better. In fact, Second Amendment Arms and Range is some of the best training available in all of Michiana, both on and off site. And they also do things that cater towards specifics. So they have a home defense course specifically so you can defend your home and all of the tactics and all of the strategies that are necessary for being able to do that successfully. They also had a concealed carry class here a couple of weeks ago. So you can learn how to properly carry, how to function. And of course, if you ever, God forbid, need to draw your weapon, how to do so in the safest and most effective way possible. They have all of these training courses and much more at Second Amendment Arms and Range, both on and off site. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. So we found out last week that this 23-year-old University of Utah student, Mackenzie Lewick, who had disappeared, was in fact murdered. She was murdered by Ayoola Adisa Ajayi, who's 31 years old. We now know that he came here on a student visa from Nigeria, and he has not graduated college in spite of him going there for a number of years. Nigerian native was charged this week with allegedly murdering Mackenzie Lewick in Salt Lake City, Utah on June 17th after she had just returned from California where she attended her grandmother's funeral. Police said that he and Lewick had been texting the day before. And then, of course, she went missing. The neighbors reported that he had a burn pile in his backyard on June 17th and June 18th. When investigators searched his home and conducted an excavation of his backyard, they found human tissue from Lewick and multiple personal items of hers that was missing. He has also now been charged with aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and the desecration of a body. Law enforcement officials confirmed that he first entered the U.S. from Nigeria in July of 2009 on a student visa. This is an F1 visa. University officials have told the media that though he attended the University of Utah between 2009 and 2017, that's 8 years, he never got a degree. So he appears to have been using it to stay in the country, not actually get his education. After remaining in the country on the F1 visa, he adjusted his status to become a lawful permanent resident, otherwise known as a green card holder, in 2014 after he married an American citizen. Sometime after adjusting his immigration status, He applied to become a naturalized U.S. citizen by claiming that he served in the American military between September 30th, 2015 and August 20th, 2015. Yeah, didn't last very long. However, records show that he never submitted any actual evidence to support his claim of military service. So he appeared to be trying to lie in order to stay in the United States. So let's see. He comes here on a student visa, 8 years, doesn't get a degree. By the way, on average, it is 6 years. Okay. So it's supposed to be a 4-year degree, but on average, it's 6 years to get your degree now in the United States. He did 8, never got a degree, stopped attending school. So he appears to have been using college as a way to stay active with the student visa. Then he marries an American citizen. Then he tries to become a lawful naturalized U.S. Citizen by saying that he served in the military, even though that service would have been a very short amount of time. And then he never provided any evidence of that at all. The Salt Lake Tribune reported that he has no previous criminal history, although police did investigate a rape accusation against him in 2014, but did not continue the investigation after the alleged victim told police that she did not want to press charges. So can I just say something here? And again, this is going to offend the Me Too movement, but really the fact that I'm a male and draw breath offends them, so I don't really care. If this woman, I'm at the point now where I'm going to assume that he did rape that woman in 2014. Based on the fact of what we have happening with this young lady here this past month. If that young woman did not drop the case against him, perhaps he would have been convicted and been behind bars, and this woman would have been alive. Okay? It is not okay for people to excuse not coming forward in cases like this. It is okay to sympathize why somebody wouldn't want to, and it is certainly advisable that you provide strength and support for them so they have the willpower and the courage to come forward. But that victim in 2014, we don't know if he actually did it, but based on this case now with Lewick, it seems reasonable to assume that she was telling the truth. If she had followed through, perhaps he would be behind bars and this young woman would be alive today. He was only married to his ex-wife between 2011 and 2017 before the two separated and eventually divorced. It was that marriage to his wife that allowed him to become a green card holder. He's being held without bail. So it's there were signs. There were signs that he was gaming the system and may potentially have been violent. But because, again, a victim did not follow through with putting a horrible person behind bars, we have lost another young person as a result of his behavior. We have more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Connected with breaking news on the radio at 95.3 FM and online at 953mnc.com.
Irish car bombs are really good. Don't call them that in Ireland. Also, black and tans are really good. Don't call them that in Ireland. We were lucky enough at the first bar we went to get a Canadian server who said, no, you can't order that. They don't call that here. Like, oh, that's what it's called at home. Yeah, nope, that's bad. I thought the same thing when I first moved here.
What do they call it there?
Forget the name of it. It didn't make any sense to us. But yeah.
No, you definitely don't want to call it an Irish car bomb.
And black and tan is bad because black and tans were the British enforcers. Mm-hmm. And we're like, but it's black and tan. It makes perfect sense.
Literally, that's why we call it.
And I was like, that's why we call it that. And he's like, yeah, but here's the history on it. I was like, oh, it would be like calling a drink the Adolf Hitler. So you don't want the Adolf Hitler.
Did I have a white slave owner? Ooh,
yeah.
No, not good. Not good. Nope.
That's bad. That's bad.
Don't order that one.
That is bad.
What? It's just milk and vodka.
The special counsel has clearly demonstrated that President Trump is lying.
It's not really refutable.
We have to hold those responsible.
Many constituents want to impeach the president.
If she goes down that road, it will be suicide for the Democratic Party.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
What if somebody opened up a bar and had a drink called the Anthony Johnson?
breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call
Would anybody
Friday
know?
Reserve tables for your next gathering.
Who's Anthony Johnson? He's the guy responsible for slavery getting legalized.
Then you roll up your sleeves and get to work.
Uh-oh.
Day in and day out from
He's not white.
Paige and I have been working on a dogma-themed bar.
Nice. That would be awesome. And offensive all at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Never wavering on their values and the mission.
He said it'd be called like Buddy Christ and Brews.
Hells yeah, dude. Buddy Christ is the best. You could pull so much from that movie alone just to have a theme.
Like
we get a movie basket
right here in Indiana.
And I hate most of the actors in that movie. That movie was awesome.
Kevin Smith.
It's hard. I know. It's
some of his movies are a little out there, but for the most part,
yeah. But you know, he's gotta take some risks before he finds something like
I
that.
even watched that Hosers movie, and I still laughed a couple times. That movie was awful.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But it had a couple of lines in it.
The sausage montage.
Serving Michiana since 1975.
Dean, oh snap, Casey teaching history. Hey, teaching history one drink at a time.
That's how you get these centennials to learn something. We had my 16-year-old cousin on my morning show this morning.
Uh-oh.
I gave him 15 questions. He was able to answer one.
Did you give him a rotary phone and see if he could use it?
No, I thought about it.
Oh, that would have been so great.
But like, one of my questions was, name any one of the Jackson 5. Couldn't pull it off.
That's funny.
My personal favorite was name any president within the first. Name any of the first 5, or name any of the last 5 presidents that came before George W. Bush. And he goes, "Wasn't his dad one?" And I'm like, "Okay, what was his name?" He's like, "Bush." I'm like, "Dude, you live in Texas. You're from Texas."
That's sacrilege to not know that in Texas, man.
Yep.
Okay, does he live in San Antonio though, or Austin?
Thanks for calling Casey Show. This is Carl. How can I help you?
Your top news, traffic, and weather during Michiana's morning news first thing weekdays from 95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
What's up, Woo? And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Oh, hey, look, it looks like the texting service is working again. It hasn't been working all afternoon. Looks like it might be functional one more time. We're also live streaming. Go to youtube.com/Casey the Host or twitch.tv/Casey the Host. Want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Let's go to Minneapolis, Minnesota, don't you know? St. Louis Park City Council members voted to no longer recite the Pledge of Allegiance so that members of their community would not feel intimidated by the tradition of the practice. Imagine being in the United States of America and worried about people who live in the United States of America being intimidated by the Pledge of the United States of America. Imagine that. And the logic and the mental gymnastics that you must do to get at that conclusion. I hope it's not too controversial, said council member Tim Brazen. What did you think it was going to be, Tim? Okay. You think this is just going to be like a little sidebar? Nobody was going to care? Our community tends to be very welcoming and increasingly diverse. We believe our citizens will understand. Why would they understand getting rid of the Pledge of Allegiance? Well, he had an answer for that. He cited racial equity initiatives. Turns out, if you're white, you can love America. But if you're not white, probably can't love America. And the Pledge of Allegiance is really going to be bothersome for you. So for you non-whites listening to this program, I'm super, super sorry because we say the Pledge of Allegiance at like almost every one of our major events here for the station. Anyway, he cited racial equity initiatives as the reason for the move, stating that given the current Washington politics that are going on now, there's a lot of people that are afraid of our government, and we worry about that. What in the bleep are you talking about? Okay, I'm just going to ask this very simple, basic question. Is it the Trump administration or the government running around throwing concrete bottles at people's heads and whacking people over their heads with crowbars because they don't like the politics of somebody? Is it the Trump administration who is physically assaulting journalists that they don't agree with their opinions on? The answer to all of that is no. Now, does Trump criticize them verbally? Sure. It's kind of amazing how people who seem to advocate the First Amendment forget that he also has the First Amendment. He's allowed to criticize the media, especially when he has so many examples that he can cite to prove his case. Now, again, there are many people in the media who do good work once in a while, even if they generally are unfair to some people or some groups. But there's a lot of people out there who are just terrible. There's a lot of people out there who are pretty good. So anyway, Jacques Smith, the city's communications and marketing manager, said in an email at the Washington Post that the council plans to revisit the vote after hearing many comments from the communities. We're going to get rid of the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll chat with the community about all of this because we think people don't want to say the pledge because of Trump. Oh, and because black people. I don't even know what to say about this. What is the minority population of Minneapolis? I'm kind of curious because I don't think it's that many. Let's see. Minneapolis.
That would be Packers fans, Casey.
Packers fans in Minneapolis?
That would be the minority, at least.
Let's see what we have here. Minneapolis demographics. Okay. All right. So demographic. I don't think that there's going to be that many people. There's only 18.9% black population there. I mean, it is like pretty much all pasty white people. I mean, it's Midwest, right? So pretty much pasty white people in Minneapolis. So I don't know if maybe they just don't actually understand what people who don't look like them actually think. Kind of like when you had Ami Horowitz go to that college and ask a bunch of the rich white liberals at that very expensive school what they thought of voter ID laws. And of course, their answers were, well, of course, voter ID laws are terrible because black people don't have identification. Black people don't have cars. Black people aren't registered to vote. Black people don't even know where the DMV is to register to vote or to get a car. Black people don't have the internet. They were saying this, not me. Okay? And this is all on the video. And then, of course, Ami Horowitz went to Harlem, and the look of shock on all of their faces as they were looking at these pasty white college students say this about them. And he point blank asked a couple of them, is this racist for what they're saying? Is that racist? And several of them said, yeah, that's pretty racist. So again, maybe if you're not around people of different backgrounds, different cultures, different races, then maybe you don't really know how they feel. And that's why you feel like you have to have some kind of public comment period on this. But you know, it's kind of, I grew up in a very racially diverse area, and I never really had a problem with people of all different races standing up and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Most of the people who didn't were pasty whiteys, to be perfectly honest with you. So here we are. Oh, it's because people don't like Trump, and we're not going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Okie dokie. That's where we're at, folks. Anytime there's anything that might be considered offensive to one person, then we have to get rid of it for everybody else. Just how we operate now. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 25-95-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right, so there's a couple of things we're going to do here in this next hour. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to go over some more Pete Buttigieg news. We will, of course, talk about the calls for Pete Buttigieg to resign today. That'll come up here in just a minute. But we have some additional stuff, including one of his campaign staffers getting in trouble by really going out there and saying something that they should not have done. But they did apologize. We'll get to all of that. You do have this situation with North Korea. We have to talk about the historic moment with North Korea over the weekend. Not just the historic moment with North Korea, but Stephanie Grisham, the new White House press secretary and dreamboat, by the way, actually getting in fisticuffs with North Korean security. Good for her. This lady, I'm telling you, she's already won me over. To be perfectly honest, she won me over the first couple of pictures I saw of her, but she also has glowing reviews from pretty much everybody. So we will also get to all of that. Let me see here. No, not going to do that. Not going to do that. We might, if we have time, talk about these police officers who illegally confiscated a guy's phone and then accidentally recorded themselves conspiring against him. Sometimes it's not the body camera that gets you. Sometimes it's your victim's own cell phone. Don't forget, we're live streaming on youtube.com/Casey the host. And again, click on the subscribe button, click on the thumbs up button to give me a like, and the bell icon to go ahead and get notified when we go live or upload a new video. And you can watch on twitch.tv/Casey the host as well. Look into live stream some 3D printing up there this week. So a lot of you want to see the 3D printer run. Twitch is going to be the place that you can do that. Again, twitch.tv/Casey the host. If you want to go on Facebook and Twitter, @Casey the host is how you follow me. And of course, on Instagram, you want to follow me for the 4th of July Freedom Sale that I have going on for my stabby pokey knife things and custom Kydex ASD knives on Instagram. More coming up next.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
All right, going to grab some more energy sludge, and I'll be right back.
The Trump administration sends a new message to Iran. Brady, Fox News. This as Iran announces it is now in breach of the nuclear deal.
Thanks for calling Casey Show. This is Carl.
Fox's Jared Halpern live in Washington.
When the Trump administration says maximum pressure will continue.
Okay, what were you wanting to talk to him about?
White House statement calling on the Iranian regime to end its nuclear ambitions and its malign behavior. Iran announced
what's your name?
Uranium enrichment beyond limits set
Kelly?
in
Okay.
2015.
1 second, Kelly. It's going to be a little bit, so you're going to be on the line for a while, but you are first in line, okay?
European and UN
All right, thanks.
Since then, tensions between the U.S. and Iran have grown. Last month, Iran shot down an unmanned U.S. drone. President Trump says he was within minutes of ordering airstrikes in response.
Meanwhile, Jared, the Trump administration also insisting today that it still wants full.
All right.
So one thing that drove me nuts about that whole thing with Trump, and it would drive me nuts if any president did that.
What's that?
You launch an airstrike. Now I'm going to call it off 10 minutes later and then pat myself on the back for not launching that airstrike that I totally called.
I used it for leverage, I think, with
He
him.
did. No, I mean it's total leverage, and then it was a pat on the back. I would get mad at anyone who did that.
Yeah.
That's just bad policy. That's just bad politics. Hey, I chose not to kill these people at the last second. Yeah, good for you. Kelly is very excited to talk to you about Pete Buttigieg. This is the only call earlier.
Holy smokes.
A Facebook facility in California evacuated as officials investigate a No person at the mail processing warehouse has shown any sign of exposure. The building is under quarantine as that investigation continues. Officials have not ruled out the possibility of a false positive.
Casey, when are you going to update your podcast? I love the show. When somebody records it. We've had a bit of a...
Do you know how to pull it off the ceiling?
No, I don't. We've had a bit of a hectic go of it here recently, so... No, nobody's ever showed me that.
Let's show you that.
You do that, homie. You do that.
It's pretty easy to do. You have an audio editor. You can access one on the computer.
Taken priority over his duties here at home.
You just have to download it 15 minutes at a time.
Got it.
It's a pain in the butt, but
15 minutes at a time. All right, cool, Mom. So listen, there's two things in there. One's for her and one's for you. So doesn't sound like Zimny, the enforcer. No, Zimny is on vacation this week. I've got Carl in here.
The Truth, as I was dubbed by Craig Williams.
Carl the Truth.
Which I learned only a year ago was a boxer.
McKinley Highway is closed because of a wreck near Elkhart. Okay, that's the way I go home, so that sucks, monkeys. Hopefully that's...
Oh, dude, why do you take that way home? You know it's 10 times faster, right?
Because that goes... McKinley shoots straight up to my house, dude.
California. will run right up to your house, and it is a lot faster.
Where's California at?
That's Edison. Go straight here, go around the bend, take a right.
Yeah.
Follow that all the way into Elkhart, and then you just take a right on, what is that, Johnson?
Yeah, it's Johnson.
Take a left on Jackson, and you're home.
Yeah, they're both right about the same.
It's 25 minutes for me.
Well, it's a faster speed limit. I take that one sometimes to work.
I don't take, and here's the, it's like, it trusts me, because I do these in the mornings when there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally a 7-minute difference between the two with traffic and with lights usually.
Yeah,
you avoid all the lights that are on McKinley, and you just fly down.
Yeah, I'll do McKinley when I look for a leisurely drive. I'll do that one when I'm looking to go a bit faster.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like if you need to stop to get gas or get food, or you want to stop and do something, then you kind of got to take this.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's talk about my naked body for you all. Okay, so I did the carnivore diet, still on it, by the way. I did it for 9 days, no cheating. And I knew that I lost weight. I haven't weighed myself. I'm not doing that until after the 30 days. Although I'm not really doing this to lose weight. It's a byproduct of it. I've had to adjust my belt twice. I feel like I have to adjust it a third time now. I can definitely tell with some of the shirts that I've worn over the past week or so that I'm much smaller, but it seems to be kind of even, okay? So there's no like dramatic changes on my torso. But when I was in Chicago, my legs and my butt are shaped completely different than they were 2 weeks ago. So completely different. So it's lost a lot of weight on the lower half of my body. So that seems to be where most of it's coming off first, was on the lower half of the body. And like I said, I got into a weird situation where I just didn't have any food on Saturday, didn't have breakfast, drove to Chicago, went right to Millennium Park, walked around, played at Millennium Park for several hours, went to the hotel room, looked at the restaurants at the hotel room. Only one of them served steaks. They weren't going to open for another several hours. And I was starving, and I didn't want to get back in the car and drive around the city of Chicago to find food. So I just ended up getting a burger. And once I cheated there, I'm in Chicago, might as well get some pizza. So I did some cheating over the past couple of days just because of travel stuff. And I'm back on it today. So there's been some dramatic changes in just 10 days. So I'm kind of interested to see what the next 20 days does, to be perfectly honest with you. And no, I'm not exercising or anything like that. I chose intentionally just go low key.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 25-95-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Don't forget, they have a co-ed defensive pistol league every Thursday night. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. All right, so we talked about Pete Buttigieg in the 3 o'clock hour. And the main reason we talked about that was the Republican nominee for the city of South Bend to be mayor, Sean Haas, has called for him to resign. And the reason that he's called for him to resign is the same reason so many of you have complained on this program. He's not here. He's not here. He is kind of abandoned the city while he's running for president. So just resign, let somebody else take over for the last year, and then you go focus on running for president. So Sean Haas made that call today. It was a public news release that he issued. And we had some people who agreed. We had some people who disagreed on that. And I had some people who still wanted to comment. I will get to fundraising issues and his staffer who got in a bit of trouble today coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, to the phone lines we go. Kelly, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to weigh in on the Mayor Pete. This issue is really, really important to me, and I support the gentleman that's asking for the resignation 100%, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I believe that under normal circumstances, that a mayor absolutely could continue to run the city while looking ahead into the next chapter of his life. With the right people in place, absolutely. But with what's going on in South Bend right now, I do not think it's possible at all.
Okay.
With the climate of the city of South Bend, we've heard him talk many, many times how fondly he is of South Bend, how fondly he is of the people of South Bend, and he needs to be here. He needs to be healing South Bend. We need 100% attention right now. I live in South Bend.
Okay.
And me and my husband, we've actually talked about this topic before you mentioned it today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one more comment for you.
Okay.
Would a Republican mayor in the city of South Bend, in your opinion, be a bigger upset than when Donald Trump got elected?
Yes.
I don't understand. Every time they talk about a Republican mayor for South Bend, it's always followed by, it'll never happen. It could never happen. I feel like we may need a change. We may need some fresh ideas.
Well, here's what I got. First of all, to answer your question, is it a bigger upset than Trump? Yes. As most of you know, I called Trump's victory, and I said I'm looking at the polling right here, and the main reason that a lot of people thought that Trump wasn't going to win is because they don't know how to read the algorithms on the polls, and they didn't adjust for the weight of ideology in those polls. I did, and I called all but 2 states. So it's just knowing the science. So there really wasn't this huge upset with Donald Trump, only because people weren't paying close attention and they were being fed propaganda. So yeah, I do think it would actually be a bigger upset because, like I said, 1972 was the last time a Republican stepped foot outside of that office. That's it. It has been a Democrat since then. I said this last week at the danger of sounding like I might be endorsing Haas, and I haven't talked with Mueller yet. We've got to send our invites and get him on, but obviously we have plenty of time. We'll do that. But if you were Sean Haas, if I were Sean Haas, if I were his campaign, and I'm looking at a community right now who is furious with Pete Buttigieg, and I'm talking about primarily the black community in South Bend, and they've been angry at him, for various reasons over the years throughout his tenure as mayor. But now they're furious. And again, I think that their anger is unjustified, but putting that aside, they feel like the city of South Bend is not doing anything for them and hasn't done anything for them in a long time. Well, who's been in power since 1972? Well, it's been one party. So if I were Sean Haas, I would make the case that your anger right now, regardless of if people believe it's justified or not, your anger right now is real and you feel like the city has not benefited you and is not helping you. Maybe you need to try something new, and we haven't tried it since 1972, and maybe I'm that guy. That's what I would do if I were Sean Haas, okay? And maybe he has the ability to go ahead and bridge that gap, and who knows? Maybe he'll shock the world, and it'll be a huge surprise. It'll be interesting to see what happens. He and Mueller went to school together, too, so they know each other. So maybe it'll be a friendly campaign also. You never know. So this is, I do. I think it would be a big deal. I think it would be a really big deal because, it's obviously 1972 is a long time with the presidential stuff. After you have a 2-term president, statistically, it's going to be the other party that takes over. So, yeah, that's the case I think that he has to make, at least to that community. And then, of course, he's got to, make his case to other parts of the community as well.
Yeah, I agree. So I support him completely, and I absolutely think that Mayor Pete needs to pick a lane, either move on to the next chapter in his life and come back and take care of the city of South Bend.
All right. Kelly, thank you so much. I know you wanted to talk about this earlier. Thank you for calling back.
I did. Thank you.
Glad you did. All right. You take care. Bye-bye. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. I think a couple of you have kind of said that. Look, day-to-day operations, I think you could probably do this just fine. But there's some turmoil in the city of South Bend. Like I said, you got a big Black Lives Matter rally getting ready to happen here in 2 weeks. You've got, it was still on the news today. They're talking about a community that needs to heal and everything else on the news. I was just watching it in the last news break. So, maybe he can't devote the attention and focus on the city of South Bend as much as he would want, or as much as he needs to right now, because he's got other things to do. And with the latest numbers that we have on his fundraising, he's a contender, ladies and gentlemen. He's a legitimate contender. I tried telling some of you last week, don't count him out yet. Don't count him out yet, because a lot of you thought that his campaign was done. It was a disaster when he came home. There's no doubt it was an absolute disaster. But fundraising wise, he's doing very, very well right now. And he wasn't last week, but now he is. 574-25-95-95-3. Eric, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, is this Casey?
Yeah, it is. What's up?
Hey, great. Thanks for taking my call. Long time listener.
Sure.
Hey, you're talking about Indianapolis about the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll make this fast.
Okay.
But of course, why wouldn't they be like that? That's home of Jesse the Body of the Ventura, with his conspiracy theory 101.
Yeah.
Then you have Al Franken, the grabber, how he originated from there.
Right.
I think isn't Moore the director producer? Isn't he from that area also?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up. But I mean, look, Minneapolis is a special leftist bastion. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, as far as the Midwest is concerned, I don't think there's a more liberal place than Minneapolis. Maybe Chicago, but I'm not even sure about that. I'm not even convinced, to be perfectly honest with you. So I saw a lot of pro Second Amendment stuff when I was walking around Chicago this past weekend, and that was in the middle of Pride. So they had the Pride parade there, which, by the way, led to some very interesting individuals walking the streets not wearing clothing. By the way, appreciate that.
I'm sure.
But there was a lot of Second Amendment shirts and apparel that were floating around in Chicago. So, I think obviously people of the political right are, not that you can't be pro Second Amendment and be on the political left, but people on the political right in Chicago are clearly outnumbered. But I think there's probably a higher ratio of them in Chicago than in Minneapolis.
Well, then also with Chicago, you got the rest of the state of Illinois that wants to succeed from them.
That's true. They want to kick Chicago out, make Chicago land its own state. They tried to do that. Well, they're working on it. They got no chance with the legislature, but.
Sure. They want to excel and be number one at the highest gasoline prices in America.
Well, Michigan's going to fix that. Don't you worry, Eric.
Oh, you got that right.
Governor Whitmer, she's going to get her set. What is it, 72 cents or 71 cents? She's going to get that, and then Michigan's going to dominate the gas tax price. All right.
There you go.
All right, man. Appreciate the call.
Hey, good talking with you. Thank you.
You too. Bye. Take care. We'll take more of your phone calls on this, and I'll tell you how much Pete has raised and why one of his staffers is in big trouble today. We'll talk about that coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Saying they want Pete to recuse himself from all decisions. That's on WSBT's website.
What's on SBT's website? What about Pete
recuse? The FOP has released a statement saying they want Pete to recuse himself from any decisions related to the shooting.
So, okay.
Which, if they understood the legality of all of it, he literally has no decision making.
Yeah, they're clearly mad.
This isn't a good look for anybody right now.
No.
This is a really bad look for everyone involved in this.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's a bad look for the police because, I mean, and this one right here, and I mean, look, Pete, I will fully admit, and I don't know if you know this, I'm a Pete supporter.
I know.
But he screwed the shooting up big time.
Of course he did.
But the FOP doubling down on him in the middle, like apropos of nothing, seems a little bit silly.
The way he handled it is not great.
He should just you go in and you take these things, you handle it like you would any other shooting. That's what you do. But I mean,
he's living his life on the poll numbers right now, and his poll numbers among blacks is 0%.
Well, I think it was as much reactionary as anything else.
He has never given a crap about any of this before. He's never made a big public to-do about it. This is purely about his campaign. And unfortunately, because he had not taken big measures or steps, it's transparent after 8 years. You can't hide from it. He should have stayed there, gave his speech to the LGBTQ community committee at the DNC and said, I'm waiting for the investigation. I'm concerned, but I'm watching. That's all he had to say.
But here's the thing. That's what any mayor would normally do ever.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? I know. That was a
he put himself in a very bad position.
That was a
Weather
full
served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 25 years of exceptional food,
But he
tremendous
really has
service,
no
and great
decision-making
people.
power in
Visit
this
Prime
case.
Table today for
At
breakfast,
this point, it's
lunch,
all
or
with the
dinner.
prosecutor.
Prescription products required
The mayor's office doesn't get to touch anything.
Well,
Unless it-
and it'll be the special prosecutor now
Unless
too.
it involves
The outrageously
inter-department
expensive
disciplinary
little blue
action,
pill
which
is
it
now
won't.
generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices.
No, they'll have a special prosecutor. They'll look at the case
And make a decision one way or another, and that'll be it.
and it'll be justified, and everybody's gonna be pissed off, and it'll be a whole thing. All of the evidence is on the officer's side at this point. I wish he turned his stupid camera on, but he wasn't required to, so he didn't.
To get the prescription. HIMSS has doctors online who can prescribe the
What was the
medication,
one I was
and
watching
a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's
yesterday?
affordable, private,
It was 2
and
days ago in
incredibly easy.
Wisconsin.
Nobody likes
Officer
dealing
showed
with
up
ED.
to
Now, thanks
catch
to
a guy
HIMSS,
with an
nobody
overdose.
has to.
They gave him 2 shots of Narcan.
And then he killed the firefighter.
I couldn't believe that.
There's a guy in Utah, same situation as here. I might talk about that actually. I've had the story for about a week. Same situation as here. Had a knife. Cop shot him. He lived. Now he's suing the police department.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Pacino. Does this sound familiar? If you haven't
Oh, man.
haven't been to a dentist
Uh-huh.
in years and money is tight, you don't want to be pressured into dental work you can't afford, and maybe you're embarrassed about the lack of past dental care.
I'll tell you what, I took the Elkhart
You
Police
have
Citizenship
dental
Academy
insurance
class.
and
That was a
need
great
help,
class.
but just
today.
don't know where to turn. At Afdent,
It was a
we
lot
can
of
get you
fun.
out of pain today.
I get to sit
No
off
one should
C4.
have to live in dental pain. That's why Afdent has an entire team dedicated to treating
All right. I
toothaches
think I have to
and
log into
dental
Discord to
emergencies.
figure out what Cider Man is chatting about.
An appointment to receive the care you need,
So
whether
Cider
you have
Man is
dental
one of your
insurance
usuals?
or not.
Yeah, he hops on here regular.
We can discuss payment plans.
He's talking about somebody being vulgar, so I don't know
Provide the right dental solution
who he's
to your
chatting
needs.
about.
Don't wait to take care of your dental pain. Call 1-800-TOOTHACHE or visit Afdent on Douglas Road in Mishawaka.
We've all been there before. Equipment malfunction can wreck your plans and shut down your office or facility. Let's be blunt, you don't have time for downtime. You need the confidence that comes with the commitment to excellence found at Final Phase Electric. Let us help you from the start. Upgrade or repair your current electrical systems, or get ahead of the game with a professional assessment that grows into a full-scale preventative maintenance schedule. Using advanced tools like thermal imaging cameras can help us identify issues that haven't even popped up yet. We even
Oh,
provide
probably talking about
24-hour
Bongino.
emergency service. Ask yourself, has my business grown beyond our current resources? Are we pushing our electrical setup too hard and running the risk of shutdowns? Does the lighting in my facility create a safe working environment for my staff? One call does it all. 574
Man, multiple hangups? Y'all can't hang out for 5 minutes?
Wiring, service upgrades,
Crazy.
energy efficient lighting,
You
and commercial
crazy.
solutions for every industry. Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. Find us on Facebook or visit.
Oh, man, I forgot to tell you guys. Yo, I found a toll-free way in and out of Chicago.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I didn't know it existed. I didn't know it existed.
You just straight US 20 in Chicago?
No, I took 20 to 6.
Yeah.
Hopped right in that bad boy.
Yeah.
I had no clue, man. We got in there, and it was like there was no sign that said "Welcome to Illinois." You just
suddenly appear in
you just
Chicago.
magically. I saw a Chicago Fire Department house, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, stuck right in. That was great. Here we go.
And see.
Yeah, where is his mind? That's what a lot of people want to know. Is Pete's mind here in South Bend, or is his mind more focused on the presidential race? So Sean Haas has called for him to resign. I know there's a new thing with the FOP, Lodge number 36. They are not happy with Mayor Pete. They really feel that he threw the police department under the bus. Let's be honest, he did. And again, it unfortunately it came off as pandering for votes because it wasn't something that he did throughout his tenure as mayor. And not that would have been a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying there's a lot of people, at the town hall in particular, who showed up and said, all of a sudden you care about this stuff. And there aren't a lot of officer-involved shootings, and certainly all of the evidence appears to be that this one is justified. But as I said before, that distrust goes back to the police tapes. That's where the history is. I warned him early on in his career. I was like, this is going to come back to bite you when you run for higher office, and it has.
Now, can he survive? That's the thing. Can he survive? And I will tell you this. So if we looked at his fundraising, and I went over this early last week, but they're talking about he had his $7 million April, and how people were talking about that being eye-popping and everything else. And then I went over his money versus everybody else's, and he was not doing very well. He's in 6th or 7th place at the time. Well, he's near the top now. Okay, Pete Buttigieg actually has money now, and now you can start writing legitimate articles about how he's raising serious cash. He was not raising serious cash before. It was puff pieces written by Politico, who has been, again, puffing him up for about a year before he actually announced. So Politico has squarely been in Pete Buttigieg's camp for a long time. But now it's legitimate. He has raised $24.8 million in the second quarter. So he has real money. He is generating real revenue for his campaign. Last week, a lot of people thought that he was done. And I said, well, wait till the debate and let's see what happens. There's a lot of people that had him faring very well on the debate, in spite of some awkward moments and things like that. But again, it's the first debate. He didn't sink. He didn't thrive either, but he treaded water. And a lot of people had him in the top 3 or 4. Okay. And when you're in the top 3 or 4 out of a field of 10, you're going to get noticed and you're going to get cash. So he's got over 300,000 donors. He's got $24.8 million. So he's doing well now. All right. Buttigieg is among the 3 2020 candidates, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who have received the support of top financiers across the country. So if you're looking at the money race, and money's not everything, but if you're looking at the money race and you're looking at the news cycle basically forgetting the police situation last week, if you're looking at it, he's in very good position. $24.8 million. He has $22.6 million on hand. So that's cash spend that he's got right now. They're hiring for a religious outreach person, I guess, bashing the vice president's faith and saying that the president is a fake Christian. I guess that has not been political outreach enough. So he needs somebody to try and bridge that gap with evangelicals because he is struggling with them mightily, and it's not just because of his sexuality. So they're expanding. And again, this is something that he did not have, at least publicly, last week. He did not have this, but now he does. So this is a big deal for him to have that money. And again, debate performance that wasn't horrible. Wasn't great, but wasn't horrible. Said a lot of people had him in top 3, top 4. So he's going to survive. He's going to move on to debate 2. Find it very difficult that he is going to be out of this race. So you're going to start to see people like Beto. And as I've said before, a lot of crossover between those two. So people who are in Beto's camp, as he falls by the wayside, they're going to start gravitating towards Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg. Elizabeth Warren is somebody, by the way, who is starting to be taken seriously by the Democrat establishment. They don't like Joe Biden. All right. Joe Biden has always been damaged goods. Joe Biden is always going to be a risk. And it just takes Joe Biden a month or 2 to remind everybody of that. And he's done a fine job of it this month, or last month, I should say, reminding the powers that be that this is why Joe Biden has never amounted to much beyond being the token vice presidential nominee to get the inexperienced Barack Obama elected. And there's no doubt that he was critical for Obama to be taken seriously with foreign policy and elected. So now we also have a staffer for Pete Buttigieg who's in trouble today for tweeting out something about Representative Matt Gaetz. Now, Matt Gaetz has been, he's had a lot of things thrown on him, literally, lately. In fact, he had one of his former political opponents whom he beat throw a milkshake on him, I think a month or 2 ago. And now Matt Gaetz ended up having something else tossed on him. So as a result of that, let's see. An alleged staffer working for the Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg advocated Sunday for urine to be thrown at congressional Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, who's a Republican, by the way. So her name is Samantha Lillian Elaine Polara. 4 names, really? Anyway. So she goes out there, 3 names is already pushing it. 4? Anyway, so she goes out there and she says, please, please let it be urine next time. So Matt Gaetz tagged Pete Buttigieg, says, this is a reply from a member of your campaign inciting rather gross violence against me after somebody previously threw a drink on me. Is this what your campaign stands for? Very fair question. You know, Pete Buttigieg may not be aware that his staff is running around advocating for urine to be thrown on their political rivals because nothing says civilized like throwing pee on people you disagree with. So somebody took it seriously. And by the way, to the campaign's credit, because they forced her, I'm assuming it has been forced, because I doubt that a person like her would make the phone call on her own. They forced her to call and apologize. So she did. And Matt Gaetz accepted the apology graciously. Says, Samantha gave me a very nice call and apology. That is how reasonable people behave. And it's certainly good enough for me. That is what he put out there. Of course, Matt Gaetz, whether you like his politics or not, is a class act. Just a good dude. So she did go out there and advocate throwing urine on Matt Gaetz. And he called the campaign on that. And the campaign forced her to apologize, which is good. Because frankly, this keyboard warrior mentality that we have, that throwing concrete, physically assaulting people, hitting people with crowbars, throwing urine on people, or even milkshakes, or anything else for that matter, is somehow acceptable, is reprehensible. Yes.
Checking out her Twitter profile, it appears that she is the investment director in Florida.
Yeah.
And so far as I know, that's actually how you solve a rational argument in the state of Florida.
Throwing urine on people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is Florida. Whereabouts in Florida? Where is she from? A little bit more civilized in Tampa. You start getting around to Orlando and things get dicey.
Let's see. It does not say specifically.
All right. Well,
it just says Florida. That's it.
She shouldn't have done it. She was called out on it appropriately, and the Buttigieg campaign appropriately forced her to apologize. Now, again, perhaps there should have been more. A lot of people are saying that the apology is fine, but she still harbors those feelings and probably shouldn't have a job in politics if she is going to be that quick to advocate violence. I'm not saying that's wrong either, but she spoke out emotionally, got called out on it, and the campaign forced her to apologize, which she did, and Matt Gaetz graciously accepted. Like I said, last week, a lot of you were sending me messages saying that he's done, he's finished, there's nothing that he can do. He may not win this thing, ladies and gentlemen, but Pete Buttigieg is not finished. $24.8 million. He's got over $22 million on hand. That is cash that he has available to go. He's expanding. Polls are holding relatively steady, even though they're completely and utterly meaningless at this point in time. Although I will note this, Biden took a 10-point drop after the debate. So there's that. That one may not be worthless. You never know. So all he has to do is get himself in a position where he can be the top three in order to go ahead and carve out a nice little spot for him, whether it's the nominee or as a running mate or a cabinet position or even just a prominent figure stumping for the nominee, which of course could launch into his next career. So again, he's obviously trying to win this thing. I know some people say he's not trying to win it, but he has an opportunity here. If you look at the crop of candidates that the Democrats have, Kamala Harris is coming off great now, but remember what I said about her. She sticks her foot in her mouth just like Biden. It's a matter of time before she does it. As long as Pete can sit there and avoid national scandal. Local scandal doesn't mean all that much, apparently, but if he can avoid national scandal, he might be okay to get towards the finals of this thing. MNC News Time is 5:31. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Boy, agree with you wholeheartedly, Roland. Wholeheartedly. I know the first thing that I think of is, man, let that be piss.
To be fair, she looks like she's probably crazy.
Oh, she is clearly the crazy ex-girlfriend. Oh, yeah, she's nuts. She is absolutely nuts. She's probably really fun recreationally, though. The crazy ones always are. Get your blue pill before you date her.
Yeah, hold on one second real quick. I'll get them for you. You can take this here.
Who is it? Who is it?
He says he has information. So he was Bible. Hello?
And with the arrival of July, there are
Yeah.
now a number of new laws on the books in the Hoosier states.
I'm doing well, man. What's up?
Schools will have to administer the U.S. naturalization test as part of a mandatory government course. That's the same test that's given to immigrants hoping to become U.S. citizens. Other new laws include allowing people who are wrongfully incarcerated be eligible to receive $50,000 for each year behind bars once a conviction is vacated due to innocence. The head of the Indiana Department of Education will now be appointed by the governor starting in 2021, and all Indiana emergency dispatchers will have a year to complete training in telephone CPR under a new law now in effect.
That's 95.3 MNC's.
Is there any proof of that, though?
Fox News, I'm Richard Jordan. The White House says Iran must end its nuclear ambitions after the Iranian regime violated part of the nuclear deal.
A senior Russian diplomat saying Iran's violation of its 2015 deal with world powers is a natural result.
Okay.
Of
I'll put my
provoked by
feelers
American
out and we'll see what we can find out.
Iran announcing that its
All right, man.
stockpiles of
Appreciate it.
uranium are now larger than permitted under the terms of the agreement. It called the US late last year. Israel's Prime Minister called it a significant step toward making it
About the
shooting? Mostly about the officer in the shooting.
A vigil is planned at the University of Utah to remember the student kidnapped and killed after getting.
But I can't do anything with it unless I can actually develop some evidence with it. So.
DailyMail.com details of the violence in her marriage.
He had a butcher knife, was trying to stab me with a knife.
Alrighty, here we go.
He called 3 times.
That dude?
That was his 3rd time.
Jeez.
First time he called, I said, try texting him real quick. And the second time he called, I said, try emailing him.
I think we're having issues with the texting service. There's only been, like, for all the stations, there's only been a few of them that are coming through.
Shaping up to be a muggy but dry evening and night. Temperatures falling through the 80s into the low 70s by Tuesday.
After I finish this, I get to go set up my brother's network at his new house.
Highs in the upper 80s.
I had him buy the mid-level Nighthawk. I think that's an okay router.
It's good. It'll do him just fine.
For a 1,200 square foot house.
He'll be fine. If he needs to get for 1,200 square feet, as long as is it multi-level or single? Yeah.
But I mean, like where the house is, the way it's a split level, so everything's right on top of itself.
Hold on. What's the Wi-Fi booster that I have? Hold on a second.
I picked him up a Motorola surfboard as opposed to Xfinity's crappy modem.
Yeah, surfboard will work just fine. So I have Amplify.
Okay.
So I have 2 Amplify nodes in addition to the one that plugs into the modem. And I tested several systems and returned all of them except for that one. That thing gives me faster speed than the Wi-Fi built in with the hard line from the modem from Xfinity.
Nice.
So it is awesome. You just plug it into an outlet and you go through with the app and you register it. So I've got, it plugs in, the main unit plugs in right there. So I have basically 2 Wi-Fi networks in my house. It plugs in right there, and I have another one in my kitchen to boost the signal around a corner, which sends it downstairs, and the other one downstairs, which gives me full coverage in my basement.
Do you have them as individual? Is it a network WAP or is it multiple contact points? Do you know what I mean by that?
No, they don't hand off or anything like that. No, it just envelops everything. It's just signal boosting. So you don't have to worry about going from the kitchen network to the basement network. No, it's all the same. And the Amplify system is the best system. I looked at a ton of them, and I picked up another one that was a little bit cheaper. And Amplify. Amplify.
I might have to get that.
It's a really nice system. And you can keep adding to it. So if you move into a bigger place, you just buy one more node, stick it up there.
Daisy chains it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, my Asus router, I bought, at the time it was top of the line, now it's like...
Yeah, they really took a hit.
It was top of the line when it was brand new. But I like Asus products, I always have.
Yeah, they do well, but they've struggled quite a bit.
But I think the
Nighthawks, I mean, it's a well-reviewed, it's still going to get the job done.
It's still pretty standard.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He's like, who's going to buy this one? I was Linksys. I'm like, no.
God,
like,
no.
don't do it.
Avoid.
It's like, see this one? It's $20 cheaper and it does more.
And it's not Linksys. Damn Linksys messing with your
Hi, this is Dwayne
privacy.
Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294-5678.
I don't care if things mess with my privacy. That doesn't really bother me. Right?
As 7 days.
It just bothers me now that things are starting to pop up on my Facebook feed that I've never actually talked about, but have thought about a lot.
Maybe you talk about them in your sleep.
That's what you mean. But no, like now that they're picking up on brain signals, I'm just about done with Facebook.
Yeah.
294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses.
I think a lot of people are.
Houses. I even buy my tenant will pay me their rent.
Nobody streamers usually do
that. Since they started throttling me a lot less, I used to get a ton on Facebook, but then Facebook killed it. It went from, having 2,000 or so by the end of the day that would watch a live stream, because most people on Facebook watch it after work.
Yeah.
To like 23, 24.
Flavored vapor products that help adult smokers
and then
but may also
clearly they were throttling it, and then all of a sudden we find out that they're deboosting live streams. So, but I'll get 30 to 50 at any time during the show on YouTube. Not very many on Twitch, but I'm still building Twitch.
I've never, I'm gonna be honest, and I only used it for gaming, but I was not a big fan of Twitch.
Twitch's platform is overly complicated. They need to streamline it, but they leave me alone. I don't get any friggin' copyright claims that I have to deal with. They don't deboost me. They don't mess with me. They leave me alone. So yeah.
If your results with ageless male max are too intense, please decrease use.
Oh my God, there's a mini AOC official.
60. Text
yes, must follow.
To 60. From the final phase,
oh God, she is effing hysterical. She looks just like a miniature AOC.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
All right, here we go. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I don't think that we can open a Monday show and get through the entire show without, since I'm not opening it, and not talk about North Korea and everything that happened with North Korea. So the president, obviously, he's doing the summit, and then he says, I'm going to go to South Korea. And he goes to South Korea, and he basically sends a message to Kim Jong-un and says, hey, yo, you want to meet at the DMZ, and we'll say hello. Just, I'm in the neighborhood, go say hi. I'm going to be in South Korea anyway. So he does. He goes over there and they shake hands. And then the president says, do you want me to come over? And he does. He walks across 10 steps to history.
Do they have a DMZ emoji? You just text him over?
I assume it would be a rocket if we had one. So I will, or a mushroom cloud, maybe. I mean, that's possible. So they do. They meet up there. And he just shakes hands. Right. So, of course, when I hear about it, before the president went to South Korea, I'm like, all right, so they'll do that, the iconic shaking hands across the thing, and it'll be a whole dealio. And next thing I know, I wake up and I'm like, oh, snap, he went across. So I'm sure the Secret Service was thrilled about what was happening. They have pictures of U.S. Secret Service standing next to North Korean equivalent security personnel. I don't know what they call their people, but they're standing there, and it's very awkward. You can tell that they don't want to look at each other. They don't really know what to do, but they're each thinking about killing the other one. And so it was a very this is hugely historic, right? Okay, so look, for some strange reason, because people are mentally deficient and intellectually dishonest. We have to clarify this before we start talking about it. Nobody doesn't understand how bad North Korea is. Everybody gets it, all right? Everybody gets how bad Kim Jong-un is, okay? Now, you have a couple of choices in how you deal with the guy. One, ignore him completely and let him shoot missiles at Japan. Possibly invade the South, who knows? The other one is to be stern, all right? Which President Trump did, and everybody on the left criticized him for. The other option was to be nice, which is what he is doing right now, and there has been great progress after the red button tweet, and now they have become friendly. There's going to be some interesting documentaries made about this. You know, we got a lot of documentaries about Gorbachev and Reagan, and it's really interesting to kind of get historical perspectives. You start getting ahead decades now, and you don't have the current media cycle and the politics of it, and they start talking about what happened. So like now they're talking about bringing Kim Jong-un to the United States. And there's a bunch of leftists and people in the media who are like, this is a bad idea. Oh, really? Why is it a bad idea? Well, because he's a dictator and he's mean. Okay. Why is it a bad idea? Well, I just said, no, you didn't. Do you know why the Soviet Union collapsed? There's one singular event that happened that solidified the collapse of the Soviet Union. Does anybody know what it is? Carl, you're a news guy. Any idea?
I was born in 1990.
Boris Yeltsin visiting the United States of America and going to a grocery store. That single event killed the Soviet Union.
Now that I think about that, I do remember, because he remarked walking in there that he had never seen so much availability. He was completely blown away. I do remember that.
He said he knew in that moment communism was not the right path. And he went home and the country collapsed into it's not a communist state, but it's not exactly a free state now either. But we do get a lot of really cool dash cam videos out of Russia. So, I mean, it's a wash, really.
You know who we have to thank for all of this, right? Absolutely. Go back to the beginning.
Monsanto.
No, not Monsanto this time. I mean, they are going to create the mutant generation that eventually takes over this planet. Yeah. But, you know who we have to thank for the North Korea stuff, right? It's Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, actually, he played, we all made fun of him, but he played a much bigger role than we thought he did.
You and I, back in the day, were making fun of us on our show. We said, what's it going to be like when we go back in history and we say the worm is the guy who fixed North Korea-U.S. relations?
And Trump's acknowledged it, too. Trump's acknowledged that Dennis Rodman was pretty critical to this whole process.
Foot in the door, man.
And, you know, there's some other things, too. Kim Jong-un studied in the West, okay? Before he took power, Kim Jong-un was considered to be more friendly to the West and more modern than his dad and would be more open to opening his country up. He did. And like I said, you know, there's some things in North Korea that we're not going to understand because, well, frankly, we're soft, squishy people who have never really had any hardship. I know your student loans are crushing you, but you've never actually had any hardship in your life as a society or as a people. We're comfortable, okay? They're not, all right? And they have this whole multi-generational propaganda religion that is out there, and the Juche thing that they have to account for and deal with. And he takes over, and he can't just automatically open the country up and make it this Western-style democracy. He's going to have people trying to kill him. And we heard early on that he killed some people. We also ended up finding out that some of those people that he killed were trying to assassinate him and overthrow him. Why? Because he was opening the North up to the Western world, and they thought that he was too soft towards the South and towards the United States. They wanted to unify North and South Korea with war and conflict and conquest. So there's also been some people that he allegedly murdered that he actually didn't and have turned up alive. So there's a lot of crap that comes out of this that isn't true. A lot of people hate North Korea, and justifiably so. So just understand before we get into this and how historic and awesome this is, that we all understand that North Korea is no bueno and that Kim Jong-un has done some awful things. The real question is, do we want to allow him to keep doing that? Or do you want to show this guy what a Culver's burger looks like and have him swap ideologies? Because that seems like it's a pretty good idea. The South, they're not worried about missiles and invasion anymore. Japan's kind of settled down a little bit. Now, haven't had very good success on nuclear stuff. Okay, no doubt about it. But certainly, things are way better now than they used to be, and the president has to get credit for that. And you can't be mad at him when he's mean and stern, and then be mad at him when he's nice as well. It doesn't make any kind of sense. So it's all sorts of Chewbacca. But there's another thing that happened in North Korea that I want to talk about. And this one really has the far left people who hate Trump and peddle the lie that he hates the U.S. media and wants to censor the U.S. media. They're struggling with this one. We'll talk about that coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3.
When I saw that the press secretary had got involved in a scuffle, I thought to myself, I'm like, great, we finally moved into WWE territory. This is a great move step forward.
Did you watch the video of what she did?
No, I didn't.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It was just a rush. She just got rushed by reporters. Isn't that what happened?
Nope. No, she took on North Korean security to allow reporters to get in. They were keeping U.S. media out.
Oh.
There's the video. U.S. media is sitting there trying to get past North Korean security, and they were blocking her. I don't have it up, but and she came up behind him, and she did a friggin' hockey check on him, and she pushed North Korean security up against the wall and said, "Go, go, go!" And U.S. media ran past, and they didn't capture how she was roughed up on the thing. But then the Secret Service got involved and rescued her, and there were blows and fists and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's hot, so
American media should be present at something like that. She did a good job.
She did her job, without a doubt.
You know that Trump has like slipped into Un's DMs. They're texting back and forth. Like, hey bro, I'm gonna drop something on you.
They're writing each other with more than just normal letters.
Yeah,
sure.
no, it's not standard contact. They're in direct contact with each other. Something like that doesn't just happen.
You have to build a relationship, man. That's what Reagan did with Gorbachev, and that's exactly how that whole thing was set into motion. He's doing it the right way. And he has shown that if you sit down at the damn table and you don't do what we asked you to do, I'm gonna walk away.
Trump pulled a little bro love on him. Hey bro, do me a favor. Yeah, bro. Close your eyes. What do you see, bro? Nothing, bro. That's my life without you, bro.
God. That's a little disturbing. But it's huge news, man. This is a big deal. Watching people cry about it's hysterical. There you go. There's the video. Yeah, man, she straight up like shoulder checked him. It was great. She didn't hesitate at all. She's like, boom.
She's the Dano Chara.
The press called her an assassin when her name came up as the replacement. And then, 2 weeks later, we heard that it was her?
633-0171 or ChrismanCustomPainting.com.
Look, here's
my name on the job. I want it to be
hottest press secretary since Perino.
Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating is the newest.
Have you seen the video of the Wisconsin lineman trying to field punts?
Yes. Years, literally. The Z-Gloss process begins with polishing the paint to remove any imperfections. Then we apply 3 layers: a water-shedding.
We have a fake news flash.
A sealer to create an adhesive.
Is that in the system?
Who puts that together?
I do.
And enhances the depth of your vehicle's gloss.
I do a fake news thing on my show every day too.
I don't know which one he's airing because I was in Chicago and I didn't get him a new one, so I don't know which one he's going to air in there. So we're at 5720.
I have one of my friends who is a hard left guy, and it took some time, but I finally convinced him.
Is his name Pete?
No. I finally convinced him that
because you know he's not a centrist, right? Pete. He is as left as Bernie.
Oh no, I've read a lot of his papers, but I've read his papers, I've read his background. Who was it that did that big article on his college days? That was actually really well written.
I don't remember who did it.
You had a pretty good idea of what he was like.
Yeah.
Learning app in Europe.
You know.
All right, so far lefty friend.
So far left friend, and I finally got him to admit that AOC is just so full of crap. It's not even funny. Like, dude,
But after using Babel,
like AOC is as full of it as anyone on far right. I mean, it's just she's ridiculous. And then because he's the one he posted the pictures of her at the border, And I'm like, dude, you haven't looked into this, have you? I'm like, no. Like, she was literally crying in a parking lot.
Yeah, it's a friggin' parking lot.
He's like, what, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't. It was one of those things where I saw it and I was like, all right, this has got to be some conservative website trolling this. Nope, 100% true. All right, man.
And Norton Security
Finally
protects
got him
against
to
online
admit
threats
it.
like
She's a
ransomware.
friggin' nutcase.
Join at lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS.
Crazy,
to get
the God's
10% off
crazy.
your first
What's up, Blue? Happy Monday.
Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment in Wakarusa has the new versatile front wheel assist tractor in stock. The versatile front wheel assist has a new style.
Zimney and Pete? No. McGill and Pete, yes.
Available with 265
They're golfing buddies.
265 engine horsepower. The versatile front wheel assist features a smooth shifting 16-speed full.
Don't be surprised if old Mark McGill gets a job in the Pete Buttigieg campaign or administration. Don't be surprised. They've talked about it before.
Check out the restyle.
They've talked about it.
I'm glad they talked about it.
Your versatile dealer
Just
in
saying.
Wakarusa at Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment.
Just saying.
Doesn't have to be hard.
Actually, I have a friend of mine who just took a job at
Having the
Pete.
right tools will help make
I'm not saying it'll be an important job. I'm saying it'll be a job.
Team members will work with you to find the versatile tractor that best fits your needs. We also offer a full line of parts and certified service technicians. Depend on the power and simplicity of the versatile front wheel assist at Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment, where hard work comes to get done. Find us online at weaveragandlawn.com.
We're your home for the Sean Hannity Show. Weeknights 6 till 9. Exclusively on News Talk 95.3 Michiana's News Channel. Your breaking news and weather.
Yes, Frank, she is Melania's lady. We got to come up with some great nicknames, ladies and gentlemen, for Stephanie Grisham, because she straight up hockey checked North Korean security to get American media into this meeting. If you have not seen the video of this, it is glorious. Now, she's obviously just signed on. We knew for a few weeks that she was the front runner and the likely person to replace Huckabee Sanders. And I told you all about her and how she is a Trump loyalist and that she is seen as probably the top person in the Trump inner circle. The media loves her, but the media is also very fearful of her. This is a good thing. So they called her the assassin. They said she does not play games. She doesn't mess around. And she has love and respect with the press, but they also understand that she is a loyalist for the Trumps and will really not pull any punches. So now North Korea is going down. The president of the United States is supposed to just shake hands with Kim Jong-un, and they decide they're going to hold a meeting for an hour. Nobody was planning on this. Well, they go into the meeting, and of course, the North Korean security people tried to keep American media from getting into the event. And then here comes the newly appointed press secretary. She comes in, pushes North Korean security out of the way, shoulder checks them, uses her body to pin them against the wall, and says, "Go, go, go." And American media runs past, and they get in the room, and they are able to document this historic meeting between these two leaders. So, for the far left, ravenous, feral crowd out there, the Trump administration, who wants to destroy all free press and censor the press, literally got roughed up making sure the press had access to this event instead of keeping you out. She was bruised up. We don't know how bad. We haven't really heard much from it. Secret Service and North Korean security got into fisticuffs as they came to her rescue. That is a woman right there who simultaneously showed exactly how tough she is and that the rumors are true and earned the respect of the American press. They better not forget what she just did. She put herself in great jeopardy just to ensure that they could be a part of the press pool at this historical meeting. Man, is she hot. Anyway, we got Sean Hannity coming up next. Fake News Flash is coming up here in just a couple of minutes, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Hispanic
excuse me, his pandering, that's hysterical. They deserve it.
This may sound like a house.
It's cultural appropriation for a bunch of pasty white people to speak Spanish on a debate stage. How dare they?
Oh, I couldn't believe he did that. The memes of the reactions of everybody else around him were the best.
Months ago, I said, look for Pete Buttigieg to speak multiple languages during the debates. Mm-hmm. And that was before debate 1 and Beto and all these other people.
I think Beto did it, and he's now Pete probably won't even touch it.
He was asked something in Spanish, he responded in Spanish, and it was a thing, that was it. But, I mean, everybody had done it at that point. You couldn't blame him. So,
but I mean, if you're asked it in Spanish, right?
And yeah, he was introduced by the I think it was Telemundo, the Telemundo guy, and he literally spoke to him in Spanish, and so he responded in Spanish.
I think that's reasonable,
which is appropriate. Just breaking out in song makes no damn sense.
When she was talking about reparations, making them a knife.
I have had so many grammatical hyphen errors on news websites today.
Tool seal has a full plane edge and fully serrated spine.
It's very irritating.
Indy Comic Con got Ron Perlman.
Also has a gut hook, skull crusher, and storage.
Good for them.
Get your ASD Centurion today at
Run Irrelevant Perlman.
Here's a couple of headlines designed to smear Fox News personality Laura Ingraham.
Like, he's not even Hellboy anymore.
Which is sad.
I mean, he did a good Hellboy. The new guy seems like he's doing a good job, though. I haven't seen the movie, but the previews look good.
We won, you lost. Check Kentucky State University professor Wilfred Riley on the.
Honestly, his claim to fame is wanting him to be killed on that.
Asking for reparations of their own.
God, what the hell is that motorcycle show?
The whole world had been shaped by conquest.
I know what you're talking about.
Then said there was an argument sometime. I think.
Why the hell am I losing? Because I'm tired and hungry.
That's that. Ingram was not saying that reparations shouldn't be paid because, quote, we won. She was clearly
Todd Starnes, if you believe AOC, your cornbread ain't done in the middle. Todd with those wholesome burns.
WTRC-FM and HD1.
My boy Todd has those wholesome burns.
Your top stories.
God, what was it that he used to call me? Heathen. He used to call me a heathen.
To the ocean, I'm Del Walters, Fox News. Mixed reaction to President Trump's
Monday, July 1.
To step across the border separating the North and South.
All right.
There was criticism from Democratic presidential hopeful Tim Ryan.
Good show, bud.
Thank you, sir.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Take care. Sons of Anarchy. Thank you, Jackie. What the hell? What the hell is wrong with me? I need a steak. That's what's wrong with me. I need a damn steak. The best part about my diet is that steak is every day.
My wife's like, I'm really considering going keto and cutting out a lot of carbs. I'm like, okay.
I'm doing carnivore, and honestly, there was one time I wanted ice cream. That sucked. And then honestly, when they just brought home a bag of cherries and really good looking green grapes, I was pissed. But other than that, man, it's been easy.
North Korea hailing that visit as a major victory.
All right. Any questions, or comments? I'll give you a couple minutes before I got to bounce out of here and hit the road, because I know we've got a slight chance of rain today. I want to make sure I get home before that hits, even though it doesn't look like it's going to be a problem right now.
Yes, do they serve a continental breakfast in Hawaii?
Yes, they do. I had a continental breakfast on Waikiki Beach. It was fantastic.
That makes no sense. They're an island.
I know, but they did it.
I'm just saying.
I get it.
I'll see you tomorrow, man.
All right. All right, so I'll throw a Chewbacca bit up there. All right, I'm just going to publish the Daily Show prep here.
Set under the terms of the deal. President addressing the situation from the White House just moments ago, once again reiterating that they are in breach. This is Fox.
Do I think that it is a globalist plot for the New World Order? No. Not yet, but I reserve judgment.
Get no-brainer deals on the very latest computers with Intel Core processors and a huge selection of servers.
It seems less globalist than the previous arrangement.
Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find just the right tech. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's an easy call to make at 877-BUY-DELL.
But it's always possible that once it's done and we actually see what's in it and the implementation of it, that I could totally be wrong. So.
What
Like I said, I will reserve judgment. Asking for cider, man? Oh, okay. Did he ask that?
Oh, the wind in my hair.
It's pronounced etc., not etc.
Woohoo! Yes.
No.
Yep, she is involved in the Smollett thing.
Policy starting at $75 a year. Quote today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
Here's Buttigieg, breaking news. He's giving an update on community police strategy. Brand new update right now. Breaking news. Just so you know.
Hong Kong police using tear gas to clear a crowd.
All right, false positive at Facebook. That's good.
Into the city's legislature.
Angry
Take care, Blue.
smash their way literally into the city state.
I don't know what Pete's saying. I'll read it tonight and
They were equipped with hard hats.
chit chat about it with you tomorrow.
Once they got into that chamber, they started spraying graffiti.
I do have a sale going on right now, though, at asdefense.com. Like somebody snatched up one of the holsters that's available. They already snatched that guy. So I've got several different knives. I've got some Kydex. I've got some spy cameras, some hidden cameras that are on sale right now. And I got a counter on there just so you know it's only available this week. Oh, and I have those little, if you order something, just get one of those little like mosquito dealios. Those wristband things. Those things actually work pretty good. And then tomorrow I get to start working on another holster that's a custom order for somebody.
$30,000 for the shooting of David Fernandez, his cousin who sat alongside Big Papi at a restaurant in Santo Domingo last month. Officials said that Gomez had only paid $10,000 to people so far.
So, Frank, Tulsi Gabbard is not a lunatic. Tulsi Gabbard is, if the Democratic Party wanted to be taken seriously, Tulsi Gabbard would be the nominee. I actually like Tulsi quite a bit. And it's not just because she's gorgeous, but because she's mostly reasonable. I disagree with her on a lot. So I don't agree with her enough to have her as president of the United States, but I don't dislike her at all. And she says some things that make a lot of sense. We have some huge disagreements, but she is who the Democrats should be. I'll put it that way. Thank you, B-dubs. That she is, Sam. That she is. I am have been for years, huge fan of Tulsi Gabbard's looks. I dig her. Casey, FYI, Canadians' 4th of July day today. Yes, today is Canada Day. I am aware of it. But more importantly, today is Bree's birthday. It might be a little bit shameful in the house because she was born on Canada Day instead of the 4th of July. But we love her anyway.
You can't truly stand for America if you don't stand for all Americans, including the babies.
That's just it, Stymie. She's willing to have honest debate, and you can disagree with her about all. I've only seen her have one crazy outburst, and I think she might have been drinking, and it was late at night on Twitter. So we're all entitled to that occasionally, right? That's funny. All right. I am going to bounce. I'm going to get on the bike. I got to get home. Today is my daughter's birthday. I don't want to be gone too long. So thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, thumbs up. And if you are on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime subscription or you can follow me. That would be fantastic. What did who say? Oh, the old Tulsi Gabbard thing. I don't remember all of it. I think she was really upset about some foreign policy thing, possibly leading to war, but I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been over the nuclear deal. Ah, look at Tracy doing the sub. Look at that. All right, everybody, I got to bounce. Thank you again.